the wrongs we've done. Name them off one by one. Let's go to war. Let's go to war. Everything you say, everything you do, you push it in, and you cut me.
Hello and welcome, champions of the realm, to the ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup number 39. My name, of course, is Vox, and I am joined by none other to start things off than the one, the only, the unexceptional. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. I got a little extra sleep because of the late start, so I feel pretty good about it.
That's right, folks. We are starting late with the broadcast today. Thank you so much for tuning in on Twitch, on Mixer, on YouTube Live, wherever you are coming from. We're late on the broadcast today because there was some back-end server maintenance going on, which is some infrastructure maintenance very necessary for the launch of Battlegrounds in the technical alpha, which is coming out in OB66 soon. And we want to make sure that we are prepped and ready for it because, well, we don't want you all to be able to give the servers the hug of death and have the game down, but we're sure you're going to try and do your best anyway. So, with that in mind, let's get right into business. Let's go ahead and check out the bracket for today and see who is facing up. And a lot of familiar names come back here in terms of Team Cryptic and Blazing Hussars, but Clan Fiesta and Bulls are a couple of new names on the block. Let's start things off by talking about Team Cryptic, though, coming up on your screen right now. And we saw them actually take the Go4 finals last week, so we know that they're coming out strong, but what have they encountered so far through this tournament? What can you tell me about their journey, please?
To get to here in the quarterfinals, they had to beat Ansled. They had to beat Marseille just to get there, so...
Oh, wow. And those were semi-finalists from last week as well, if I'm not mistaken, so they've already taken out one of the better teams from the last week.
So they're coming in hot. You know they're a good team. They've already taken down a powerhouse.
They are not just coming in hot, they're coming in spicy. The other side of things, it is Clan Fiesta. This is a roster which some people might recognize some names in here, but there might be a few which are a little bit more, well, off the beaten track. K-Crunchy, something that many of you old competitive players from the European region, a name that you might recognize, as well as one of your esports wall admins. So if you're competing in some of those tournaments, then you may well be familiar with this player already. Got I Haven't Friends, Make My Day, Paradox 0 or Paradox 2, and Mary Jane as well. So Clan Fiesta coming in with again, it seems a bit like the Space Creators roster, which Mary Jane was on previously. It's this sort of like semi-pub star roster, and it's going to be interesting to see how they fare up against Team Cryptic. Knowing how strong Cryptic are just on a regular basis, do you have any expectations for how this matchup is going to go at all unexceptional?
I think we've seen matchups similar to this in the past where you have these really good ranked players together as a team, and they kind of roll through the first couple rounds based on pure talent, but then you run into the wall that is this experienced high-level team that they've been here before and they know how to communicate. So I expect them to struggle against Cryptic.
I think it's going to be tough, but before we can actually make any decisions, we have to know where we're fighting first before we can make any speculations. So looking at the map draft coming up on the screen right now, I see Splitstone Quarry taken away, which is a map that we don't often see picked or banned. It feels a bit like it's the new Timber Mill, if that makes sense.
I think that's exactly it, is that Splitstone is really favorable to snipers, similar in the way that Timbermill is. There's a lot of places where you can just kind of duck in and out of cover and get your shots off for free while being relatively safe. There's a lot of good firing lines there. And also we're going to get Bright Marsh banned away. People don't want to fight in this claustrophobic nightmare.
And that's funny because Bright Marsh has been one of those very popular maps recently, is what I've been noticing within competitive Paladins. People are liking Jaguar Falls, they're liking Bright Marsh. To a degree, Frog Isle is taken off the table, and maybe Serpent Beach is sort of that middle ground, but everybody likes these close quarters fights right now. I'm not really sure why that might be. Maybe it's because of the strength of, for example, Cassie at long range. Maybe it's just the way that compositions are going right now, but Jaguar Falls is where a lot of these players feel comfortable. I'm excited to see how things start off. Patrick, are you ready for the championed draft to kick things off for map number 1?
Let's do it.
Alrighty, folks, let's head right on through it. It is Clan Fiesta versus Team Cryptic in map number 1 to start things off. And commonly we see, champions like Torvald, Makoa, Cassie taken off the table, and First ban does come through for Clown Fiesta. That is a Torval taken off the table, and as per the script, as always, Makoa is the rebuttal, so neither of these two front lines can be getting through.
Yeah, no surprise there. Like you said, it's the script. We've seen it before. We'll see it again. Cassie gonna go as the first pick. Again, not super surprising. She's so devastating at long distance with that new legendary.
Now, this is interesting. Last week we saw a lot of ruckers start to come out to the forefront of the competitive scene. A lot of players citing the fact their Missile Barrage legendary is very, very strong here, and ruckers picked up as well as Bomb King, so getting, you know, a damage-oriented frontline online as well as just a straight-up damage champion. No Ashe though, and previously Ashe, especially Slugshot Ashe, has been so highly prioritized.
Ashe functions similarly to Ruckus in that she's this mobile offensive frontliner, but Clown Fiesta going to go with Fernando instead. We know he can flank. We know he's got some moves himself. And they're going to pick up a Maldamba too, make sure that Fernando gets to stay alive.
Oh, this is interesting. So Fernando will give comparatively better point control, I feel, with the exception of the ultimate than Ashe. And there we go. Ashe is actually being locked in for the side of Team Cryptic now. So Cryptic are getting a very strong draft. I feel like the only saving grace at this very moment is the fact that Maldamba has been stripped away, so you're not getting that pocket heal, but I'm concerned. Cryptic have a history of running a bit of a niche setup in terms of support. Out comes one of them, that's a Pip to start things off, and I wouldn't be surprised to maybe see a secondary support come in to make sure that there is plenty of healing across the board.
Yeah, we've seen how devastating their Pip can be with not just the healing, but also the damage. Clown Fiesta going to make sure they can't get Pip and Grok, though. Grok, similar to Pip in that they can heal and crank out damage. Going to round out their draft with Inara. I like that a lot.
That's a lot of point control. I love the pairing of Grok and Inara. You've got that Mother's Grace ability to have CC immunity, and Grok, especially if they're running Totemic Ward as well, there's no chance that you might be potentially knocked off the edge of the map with Ashe, or even Polymorph for too long with Pip. Rounding out the draft then of Team Cryptic, closing it out is Janos, and I love this coming through specifically on Jaguar Falls. I think that Janos still has a lot of viability here over Ceres potentially, because of his ability to heal through walls, but supplementing that lack of burst heal with a Pip feels perfect to me. What are your thoughts?
Normally, at least lately, I've been complaining that there's not enough Ceres, there's too much Genos, but I agree. On this map where there are so many tight quarters that he can get you through a wall where Ceres would struggle, I think Genos is a really good grab right here.
Alrighty folks, 2 minutes on the clock to load into game and start things off. Map number 1 of Clown Fiesta versus Team Cryptic is coming up in just a second. Let us know who you're rooting for in chat and who you think is going to come out on top. We'll see you back again after the break. Hello and welcome back then, champions, to game number 1 of this best of 3 semi-final set between Clown Fiesta and Team Cryptic. My name is, of course, Hi-Rez Vox, joined by Unexceptional to start things off. Unexceptional looking at the scoreboard, with Clown Fiesta on the left-hand side, Team Cryptic on the right. Any legendaries that you want to pay attention to start things off?
On Genos, I gotta see what Genos is running. Same with Sleppy on Pip.
Alright, so it's a
Sleppy
Luminary
is
there.
just a normal healer, so I want to see if they're going with the Mega Potion.
Wow, it doesn't look like they are. Let's give that a refresh. No, Slappy's going with Mischief right now, so with a bit more healing throughput from Ninu's Sassler running Genos, Slappy's going for that real fast, rapid ability to spam potions and keep on reducing cooldowns, and we'll see how effective that is, as you've got to land these shots to be able to do that with a Legendary. Starting things off then around the outside of the map. A little bit of poke towards the objective, but Clown Fiesta, they've got the Inara down there early. They're sitting on point relatively happy, and even though Mary Jane gets stunned out and Slappy's trying to dive in to at least contest a little bit, this Inara is not losing any health at all.
Inara is so tanky, but Cassie is not going to go down. Looks like Team Cryptic are starting to take a little bit of control of this fight, starting to get on the point, and look at that. They're already in the lead for capture percentage.
That's a little bit remarkable to me, because Clown Fiesta seemed to have such an established foothold on that objective early on, only sitting at 39%, and now Team Cryptic rising upwards of 80%. I am a little bit surprised by that. One Slay does come through, I Haven't Friends takes out Haze, but the objective is sitting under Cryptic's control. Ryan's going to shoulder bash away from the Inara, make sure that they peel for their Genos in the backline. K-Crunchy takes a lot of focus fire from his slug shot. Ash throws up the shield. There's the spray as well from the frontline pack coming through, but Mary Jane is now poking everybody out, and Clown Fiesta are starting to pick up some steam back on the objective, even though they've lost a member.
I think Mary Jane forgot that they were Croc and that you can't be out there just taking damage without your Ghost Walk ready. But here comes the King Bomb. Is it going to last long enough to get through the wall? It is not objective capture. That was a really good play coming out of Inara.
And that feels like the demonstration of just the power of Inara right as well. Hold that thought though. Polymorph K-Crunchy survived thanks to the fantastic Dread Serpent coming out of the rest of the team. Clown Fiesta coming out on top right now, stunned out, doesn't matter. Grumpy Bomb not enough to do the deed right there. Music's in the backline for Team Cryptic as well, gets focused down, and this payload is starting to roll forwards with Cryptic in a very sort of atypical sense, losing a lot of early game ground here.
Yeah, it looked like Cryptic they were real set up. They were in a great spot to take that point, but they got pushed out a little bit, and then a great wall and a great Dread Serpent really shut down that push, and now they're going to have to regroup here at this second choke point, trying to put this defense together.
Now, I do like the back off there. You see Cassie and Maldamba around the corner, very low on health. Notice how they didn't, as I say that, Mary Jane right to the front does get taken out, but notice how they all pull back when they recognize their low health. They don't get taken out, and so with 1 minute and effectively 30 seconds left on the clock, Clown Fiesta are close to being able to push this through, but down goes Maldamba. He's traded out in return, but no support left for Clown Fiesta, or no main throughput healer at least. They'll have a difficult time in, I think, probably getting this push going until the respawns start to come through.
Important to remember that trading kills is almost always better for the defense because their spawn point is so much closer to the payload. So when someone on Team Cryptic dies, they're back on the payload, 3 seconds after they spawn, instead of having to run across the entire map like Clown Fiesta right now.
So look at the positioning of K-Crunchy now. Up on the left-hand side, respectively, does get thrown back pretty far. Is forced to re-engage here, but is looking for some fireball pressure towards the Bomb King, but Haste isn't having any of it. K-Crunchy gets chipped right down, might be eliminated in just a second. Musix gets 1 kill. Haste is going in, looking for more. Mary Jane does get poked, and Inara is starting to retreat as well, so Clown Fiesta are getting pushed further and further back. Team Cryptic look like they're mounting a good defense, but again, Clown Fiesta give Team Cryptic a lot of berth. They don't push into it, and there's 25 seconds left for them to regroup and go for one last push, with their Fernando returning.
I mean, literally, if you're not pushing now, then you're not going to push at all this round with less than 20 seconds. The hard part is getting past this defense that Cryptic has put up on the high ground behind this Ash with the Bomb King, but K-Crunchy going in.
That's a very low health Bomb King. Haste does get taken out by Mary Jane. That's a big way to start things off. Make My Day is trying to keep things going. Oh no, here comes a Hexafire from Musix. Ash does try to assert dominance, but Ryan gets taken out as well. Through time and space is avoided by Make My Day. Nice Immortal to be able to immune that 2400 damage from the ult. I Haven't Friends takes Slappy out of the air as well, and overtime is ticking, but it's only Haste left alive. Nina Sassler is too far away. Everybody's walled off, and oh no, Bomb King rounds the top of the impasse just as that payload pushes through. Clown Fiesta take a 2-0 over last week's overall winners.
I think we're looking at Clown Fiesta right now. They're kind of in the backpack of Paradox. these walls have been on point, but more importantly, Inara's not dying. And when Inara's not dying, she's disrupting every team fight because of the amount of crowd control and damage reduction that she brings.
And overall, especially, look at I Haven't Friends as well. You know, the players that are bringing the consistency, the damage, the Maldamba make my day for Clown Fiesta. Relatively few deaths. On Team Cryptic, Nina Sassler as well hasn't died, but hey, it's a Genos on Jaguar Falls, that's not too unusual. Looking at the items though, Tier 2 offensive itemization for Clown Fiesta, Team Cryptic, they've only got two level 2 cauterizers here. Slappy's still sitting on the level 1, this isn't great for them moving into the second round.
There's not a lot of pressure on this Maldamba and Grok healing-wise. Great wall again coming out of Paradox, just shutting down that entire push, and now Ryan is in a weird position, being forced to flank around on their own.
Problem is, it's a bit of a pincer now coming in towards Clown Fiesta. They got surrounded on all sides. The ultimates are starting to come through. Elimination does come out for K-Crunchy as they take down Hayes, so the Bomb King is off the table, but Musics is starting to converge towards the objective, and one by one, these tanky frontliners are getting overwhelmed. Great positioning from Team Cryptic there. Clown Fiesta, I don't know, they got caught out a little bit, it seemed like.
Yeah, I think they're a little bit too cocky. They saw the wall and they thought that was it for that fight, but Ash doing a great job repositioning and restarting that fight, and before you know it, Team Cryptic, as you said, they pincered, they made their move, and when you can isolate a frontliner, they're not that hard to kill. Objective captured. Team Cryptic back on the board 2-1 at almost 7 minutes.
Team Cryptic did have capture boost that round as well, so they're capturing 4% per in-game tick instead of just the usual 3% there. So comparatively getting their capture rate up faster. And now look at the aggression coming out of Team Cryptic. Ryan is on the high ground. Poppy bombed. No, actually just knocked back by Cassie to disengage away. But oh, Fernando got chicken. Resilience comes through, gets out of that and does survive, but this could be dangerous. Team Cryptic are starting to force Clown Fiesta right back into their base, and Nino picks up a first kill in this fight.
That's a big kill, too. That's an important frontliner who can block off this choke point. Now they just have Inara and damage, but it doesn't look like they're allowing Inara to get into position. Team Cryptic doing a great job pushing back Clown Fiesta just so they can get through this difficult passageway.
Now they have used several ultimates. Team Cryptic have elapsed Evil Mojo. They've used as well their Assert Dominance trying to get through, and it's just Musics who's left currently on the Ruckus with Hexafire, whereas Clown Fiesta have a lot of ultimates to their side to be able to withstand this push. And it looks like they'll be able to do that quite successfully. 1 minute and 20 seconds on the clock though, and Cryptic have actually broken the base of Clown Fiesta. Compared to where Team Cryptic were defending last round to where Clown Fiesta have to defend themselves this time, do you feel that this puts Team Cryptic at more of an advantage comparatively?
I think it definitely looks better. They have more time, the payload is further up. This is what Cryptic wants. Right now they have time for probably 2 strong pushes, or at least 1 push to build ultimates, 1 push to use ultimates. To get that point push.
Music's now putting up a bit of a flank up in secret. Lands the long-range missiles on the carry. Cassie, those don't actually have fall-off, so hitting for 500 even at the edge of the explosion currently. Picks up a double kill with Paradox going down. Slappy takes down K-Crunchy. Make my day. Oh, missed the slither up the stairs, and that is a full team wipe in a matter of seconds. Team Cryptic just hit the gas pedal without ultimates even being necessary. And that conversion is just about to go through. No sign of defense. It's 2-2 all tied up.
Music to my ears. That Ruckus play was perfect. The long-range missiles into this, the constant shred damage on those tanks, making sure that when Fernando wants to point one direction to stop the more direct damage coming out of Hayes, he's forced to turn around and deal with Musics. You can only block one direction at a time, and Cryptic positioned themselves beautifully to make sure that they were going to get that damage through.
And you know, it felt really opportunistic as well to me. That first kill on the Cassie, just with the missile launcher, really opened things up. Clown Fiesta weren't able to respond to Team Cryptic's damage with damage of their own. They didn't have the kills, and looking at the damage charts right now, I Haven't Friends, the Cassie for Clown Fiesta, is pretty much the only saving grace for that team in terms of the damage charts right now. It's dominated by the red team, and that puts Team Cryptic in a very favorable position moving into this next objective capture. And already they're forcing straight into Clown Fiesta, not letting Team Cryptic really take any kind of advantage.
It's getting burned early. We already saw the Dread Serpent, the Immortal. There's the through time and space, not to mention the Polymorph. I mean, we're going down right now. This is whoever wins this one, I think, is planning on pushing hard and taking the set based on how many resources they're using to win it. And Team Cryptic is gonna win this initial fight and start to cap that point.
It felt like they won the resource war as well, though. Looking at the ultimates available, Inara has Seismic Crash left, but Team Crypt, and there is Tempest for Grok, but Team Cryptic, they've got the Hexafire, they've got King Bomb, they've got Ash's Assert Dominance, which we know can hold people down so well, and Seismic Crash does connect, but Ryan's burst back up to full health thanks to Pip. Asserts Dominance, stuns out as well, is looking to damage Mary Jane, who's trying to engage with Tempest just to get to the objective, but here's a Hexafire to zone everybody out. It's 99% to 3 for Team Cryptic. Overtime is ticking, but there's nobody left alive. Clown Fiesta, well, that was a bit of a Clown Fiesta retake attempt. They all fall down, and it's 3-2.
I do not like that retake attempt. I think sometimes you need to accept that you've lost that fight. You need to back up, lose the point, but put up a stronger defense. They spent too many resources on what was, in my opinion, clearly a losing endeavor. There was no way that Mary Jane was going to be able to get on there with Grok and still be able to win. And now Team Cryptic is being allowed to push forward.
So they are being forced back a little bit after having lost a couple of members. Maybe Cryptic going a bit over-aggressive themselves, but Ryan is able to get out for free. Slappy doesn't quite hit the potion launcher there, but I'm seeing some pretty decent streaks on the side of Team Cryptic currently. Notably 15 for Slappy on the Pip. Running, as we said, this looking back towards the legendaries, Mischief Pip. So going for a lot of throughput on their skills just by hitting these potion launcher shots. So far seems to be working out, and now there's potential engagement coming through. Polymorph is ready.
Fight already such low health on both of these frontliners. If you can knock down the door and let Bomb King walk through, you're in a lot of trouble, and that's exactly what just happened. Hit moved so aggressively forward and got that big AoE damage on people who did not want to take it. And then before you know it, there's Hayes throwing bombs, and they're already through the choke point. They are in Clown Fiesta's base right now, Vox.
Ultimate opportunities coming through as well. Look at where Slappy's positioned, so there will be no shield potentially to be able to block it off. Needs to retreat. Here's through time and space. Connects on a Paradox. Almost takes down Craig Crunchy as well. He's forced into the Immortal. Mary Jane pulls out the Tempest, but it seems like a desperation play again as Cauterize is online. I haven't a friend so low. Polymorph comes through as well. That's the last of the last, dropping Assert Dominance just to add some fire there. And Team Cryptic, they take map number 1 in a 4-2 scoreline.
I think right there, that's the difference between experience and communication and just raw skill. We saw Cryptic go down 2-0 early, but then we saw them quickly bounce back. It looked like they did a really good job adjusting what they wanted to do, and then they basically won every fight from then on out.
And I feel like the early game, that's the strength of sort of this Inara Grok point composition that we saw coming out of Clown Fiesta. You put the Inara on point, you got the Maldamba there for healing throughput, you got the Grok there for some extra healing if necessary, and the healing numbers coming from both these supports are quite impressive. 27,000 for Grok isn't actually too bad considering it was a Maelstrom Grok, and 158k from Maldamba is kind of where you expect it to be when you're pocket healing a Mother's Grace Inara. But with that in mind, look at what the supports on the other side with Team Cryptic were able to do. Unexceptional. That's 59,000 healing coming out of a Mischief Pip. That's not a Mega Potion Pip, that's Mischief.
Yeah, and not to mention the 69,000 damage coming out of Genos. That's 8-2 and 16 on Genos. You know, Sasala knows how to hit the shots on that healer. I think that's the most damage I've ever seen a Genos do.
Well, it's a lot, and we actually saw this quite a bit at the Paladins Console Wars back at HRX. We saw people taking this Luminary Janos and using them more as a damage champion, and I love seeing this composition go together because for so long on Exceptional in Paladins we've had, you take your main support, you take your other main support, maybe you go for a Grover if you need a counter sniper somewhere or somebody to pocket heal your sniper, but it's been Maldamba and Ceres and Maldamba and Janos for so long. And now we're seeing these supports start to transition into double off support with equal healing throughput, but a lot more damage on the table. And I feel like the opportunity to swap things up here in Paladins, supports are moving into a really good place right there. As well as the fact that we're seeing a lot of frontlines banned out as well means that there's less pressure and less emphasis on getting, you know, the best of the best online. It's like, what can we do with the other classes for a change?
Anytime you start to see positions get a little bit more flexible, I think the game immediately becomes more interesting. And when you can pick up characters like Grok or Pip to both heal and do damage, or you know, provide a little bit more utility than maybe your straight up healers do, you're going to get more complex, deeper team comps and better matchups.
With that in mind, Cryptic take the first map, 4-2, looking very confident, winning 4 straight points in a row as well, with relatively little in the way of resources used there. Frog Isle's the next map up, and What do you feel about this one? I can tell you that this was actually Clown Fiesta's pick, if I'm not mistaken. So they're going for the snowball map. What's that telling you about their proposed strategy here?
I think it's an all or nothing pick. I think when you lose 4 points in a row, you're probably a little bit emotional and lose. That's it for your tournament. You've gotten this far, but you're done. So on Frog Isle, I think the plan is get an early lead, snowball it, and win. You know, it's the Paladins equivalent of cheese.
Alrighty, well, we'll have to see if that is even possible here, as the champion draft might actually dictate a bit more than that, at least, than some players would otherwise be wanting. So let's head right on through to the champion draft for map number 2. Team Cryptic, this time around, they do have the first ban, and it is Torvald coming through, and let's see, yes, there's the Makoda response, so same bans as last time, just swap sides. First pick up and available for Team Cryptic. Last time it was Cassie, but this time they're definitely sticking with the Ruckus. They view this as a very, very powerful champion to have in their lineup.
I mean, we see why Music's last game, so much damage, so much shielding. The utility that Ruckus brought to all these team fights was unmatched by anyone on Clown Fiesta, but they're going to go back to their Cassie and Meldamba pick, and I like it. Those are two of the strongest champions in the meta right now.
And I agree definitely with the Cassie on this map. There are some long open line of sights on Frog Isle specifically, and Cassie's Just Breathe legendary, giving her damage scaling up over distance, is unparalleled really. It brings you up to near sniper damage in this kind of situation. Bomb King and Ashe though go the way of Team Cryptic. They've got double frontline online. They've omitted a support, but they've got plenty of damage. This is a very aggressive team comp again.
And I like it. On a snowball map like this, you want to brawl and you want to win. And with Ruckus and Ashe, that's what you're building to. You're building a team comp that can take damage, deal damage, and move. It's everything you want in frontliners. And Clown Fiesta, I mean, we're kind of looking at the salty run back right here with the team comps.
We certainly are, and locking in again, getting the support online. First, the supports, I should say. The Genos comes through for Team Cryptic, and there is the opportunity to run a Pip here as well. I'm not quite sure I like the idea of a Pip quite as much on a map with less verticality though. Frog Isle is a very horizontal map, and being locked in at last with Team Cryptic, we've got a Grover coming through, and this will be interesting. This might even be able to outbox the Cassie.
Over on this map, especially if you pick up Ferocity, you can get those axes dealing a crazy amount of damage if you're accurate. And I think we know that they are. And Drogo's going to finish it off. I really like this Drogo's pick too. Gives you a little bit more area damage because Drogo's can jump up over those walls when everyone is stuck on the point, hit 2 or 3 or sometimes 4 people with a combustible spit. I love it.
I really do as well, and I feel like that area denial is going to be imperative for the side of Clown Fiesta, because again, they're going with this point hold strategy. They want to get their Inara on the objective and just keep them there for as long as possible, and if you can blast everybody away, maybe with combustible or take them out with direct shots, it'll be a boon. I'm just worried about Team Cryptic trying to sneak up behind them and dismantle Clown Fiesta from behind. Looking at this draft in a vacuum, they're unexceptional. Who are you giving it to?
Like Team Cryptic's draft. They have the damage and the healing, but more importantly, they have the mobility advantage right now. All of their characters have some sort of mobility move, and I think that in these open team fights, that's really what you want to be able to do. You want to get around your opponents and hit them in the back.
So it's mobility versus the early game snowball. Will Team Cryptic be able to maneuver around the point objective hold composition of Clown Fiesta and take the win in just 2 games? Will Clown Fiesta keep themselves in the series and push us all the way to 3? Find out once again after the break. Welcome back then, everybody, once again to the ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup after that short break. It's Vox and Unexceptional still in the mics with Team Cryptic currently up one map in this semi-finals best of 3 series to see if they can hit it home altogether. Now, Team Cryptic, they swapped sides, they're fighting out of the blue corner this time. Let's look at legendaries, and what do we see that's available here? I can already see some spicy picks.
Interesting that Nina Sasala is actually on the Grover. I gotta know if they're running Ferocity. Not surprised with that.
Oh, actually, that's a last-minute change. Efflorescence comes out for Nino. Pace picks up Royal Subjects as well, which I feel like is the go-to Bomb King one there. But Slappy's got Luminary. This is a team that's swinging a great deal. Across the way, it is Mother's Grace Inara. Combustible Drogas as well, so I have friends looking for that point denial. Really nice play. A lot of damage goes immediately onto the backline of Team Cryptic, but nobody's managed to get themselves on the objective so far. And oh no, Ryan's going for a flank here already.
That, I mean, that did not go great for Clown Fiesta. Ryan, one of the best flanking frontliners that we've seen, in my opinion. Always somewhere you're not expecting them to be, and Clown Fiesta just realized that the hard way as Team Cryptic already over halfway to capping that point, and now Hayes creating their own front line on the side here.
Oh goodness, that was almost a knock off the map as well, with I think Kinetic Burst, or I think it might have even been a Shoulder Bash, but Hayes is doing so much work as Bomb King, as Team Cryptic are getting so much capture right now on the objective, because these Royal Subject sticky bombs detonate so far with a big explosion radius, they can hit people round corners with them. And it's a double kill to Hayes already, looking for the triple kill. Mary Jane goes down, make that a triple kill for Hayes. Clown Fiesta only have one member remaining, and, well, that member has only just respawned.
The most important part of that was how far back Hayes kept all of Clown Fiesta. Cassie wasn't allowed to engage. Fernando wasn't allowed to engage. Maldamba wasn't allowed to engage. All three of these very important characters were just forced to sit back and take bombs over and over and over again. And it looks like this snowball comp coming out of Clown Fiesta is not doing its job to start off, Fox.
No, you want the Inara to be winning early on an open map with a lot of open line of sights, because as Cauterized starts to come up and as the damage comes through with Music's activating a Hexafire there, it's only going to get more difficult. But Team Cryptic, they're halfway pushed. They've managed to do that in just a minute already, and they're sitting on 4 ultimates, with already Hexafire having been used. Clown Fiesta do have the opportunity to respond, but if Team Cryptic hit the gas pedal here, I don't know how they're going to recover.
Look at the positioning out of Team Cryptic. They're spawn camping Clown Fiesta and getting all of this free push. All Genos has to do is stand there and heal at the longest possible distance, because Clown Fiesta can't even get out of their own base. And now they're walking right into a King Bomb.
Oh no, that was a big detonation. Hayes is on a rampage right now. 5 kills in a row. Mary Jane getting focused down. Ryan claims Make My Day's life, and that's the end of that push. Team Cryptic take the 2-0 over Clown Fiesta there already. And they got a lot of credits in their pockets. Let's look at how they're spending them and see what the net worth chart says.
2 offensive itemization coming out of 3 players. I assume Music's is going to buy level 2. There we go. Getting that level 2 Cauterize online, making sure that has even more trouble going into this next round.
That will be very difficult, and I think that if Clown Fiesta want to pull out something here and make themselves go big, they've got to take advantage of their own ultimates left up, as at least Hexafire was used. You've got Whirlwind used as well, you've got King Bomb used for Team Cryptic. They haven't got many resources left in the tank, with the exception of Assert Dominance. And Clown Fiesta do have the comeback mechanic. They've got this capture boost.
If we look at this Drogo's item real fast, it looked like purely a defensive itemization coming out of Drogo's, which is not normally what you expect. Usually you bank more on Drogo's dealing damage than surviving.
That's what you think, but we'll come back to that in just a second. I haven't friends trying to go in the Dragon Punch. Too far away, just disengages, but it does buy a lot of space for Clown Fiesta, and they are now able to sit on the objective at 58%. You can see Ryan's trying to close the gap, but can't find the kill. It moves Mary Jane as well, and this Cassie's going for the damage. Ryan can't get out of there. Make My Day claims their life. Here's an Immortal as well coming through, and everybody's staying alive. Through time and space does not connect. Hayes gets outboxed by Mary Jane. This time around, Cassie gets the better end of that trade, and overtime is ticking. Clown Fiesta, they might have just come in with a comeback of their own.
It looks like it. They've got that capture point with the comeback mechanic. Team Cryptic just struggled so badly trying to get on that point at all, and Clown Fiesta did a really good job of keeping Inara and Fernando alive on that point, and they got that one but without Team Cryptic getting a single percentage.
And I feel like part of that was the fact that Team Cryptic, they went for that kind of peripheral play, again looking to position Haste in an area where Haste could deal a lot of damage to backline and keep the Cassie and the Drogos pinned down. The Clown Fiesta were ready and waiting for it, and they started poking down Ryan very early on. Is Drogos dropping? Going back to the items that you were talking about with this Drogos, I have friends. I want to elaborate a little bit on that as Team Cryptic are starting to push forwards. If Drogos is so vulnerable to the damage in the air from Nina Sassler, you've got Ryan as well, who's at least going to be hitting them with AoE damage, even though the slug shot is single target. And Musix, who's going to be trying to chew them out of the air with this anti-aircraft, almost Gatling gun style play. I feel like the defensive play early on is actually a pretty good move. You've got some good cauterized spread already from the rest of the team. I don't feel like you're losing too much, because if you're hitting these big AoE fire spits, you're not applying cauterize anyway.
Yeah, I agree. It's funny is that in this defensive build, it feels risky. You know, like you expect Drogos to just build the damage to cauterize the wreck or whatever you need them to build offensively. And so it feels like a risk to be building defensively, but in this case, play is actually the safe play.
Doesn't seem to be working out too badly. You did mention Wrecker there, and there is a distinct lack of Wrecker actually, with the exception of Mary Jane coming through. And even though Just Breathe does scale with damage on his shields, I'm not sure if just level 1 will be enough at this point. But look at that damage, over 1,000 from range with the Wrecker. Paradox takes out Musix. Bomb King from round the side. Mary Jane in a very bad position here, gets Amending Spirits from Maldamba. Ace gets taken out by I Haven't Friends. Oh, here comes the Fire Spit as well. Dread Serpent for the conversion. Ash does assert dominance. Ryan is here, but Combustible Fire Spit. Will it knock Ryan out of the way? No, there's Resilience coming through, and Ryan stays on point, but this is so close to conversion. Here's a massive Immortal coming through from K. Crunchy. There's the Fire Spit knockback. Musix is trying to contest. Nina Sassler does engage with Whirlwind as well. Hexafire too, and this defense might just go through as just by tooth and nail. Team Cryptic seem to be establishing a foothold, and they get the defense at last.
It's Ryan with the assert dominance. Save that round. What an ultimate coming out of Ash. Asserted dominance and then survived this onslaught of damage and barely staying inside the range with the resilience. Really good pickup. Couldn't quite get knocked out from the combustible spit.
And I think that part of the reason that Team Cryptic were actually able to defend there is also the fact that they were able to cycle in respawns, because the payload was so close to conversion, it was as close as possible to their spawn. If that had been maybe, you know, a quarter of the distance back, we might have seen a complete snowball come out and Clown Fiesta could have put that through. But speaking of Clown Fiesta, they're down 2 points still. They have full capture boost enabled. But we're in a dangerous position because one more objective capture will win Team Cryptic this game. I'll have to see if Clown Fiesta can do the same thing they did last time and just get on that objective and hold it down.
Yeah, I think Clown Fiesta has the better comp for just getting on the... But look at the damage! You gotta be kidding me coming out of Mary Jane right there. The longest range shots. This is what Cassie brings to the table. This is why she is so prioritized.
Oh, it's the damage and the dinks as well. Disengage sent Bomb King off the map into the drink. One player down straight away. Team Cryptic, they can't fight that. They lose 2 members immediately. Capture Boost is letting this just rage forward, surge up. And Clown Fiesta get a second capture with no contention for Team Cryptic. You got to pay more attention to positioning there without resilience online.
Corner kill coming out of Mary Jane to pick up Musix with the explosive bolt. So good. It was so good.
Excellent Cassie play coming through so far, but Team Cryptic have now stabilized, and Clown Fiesta are wisely withdrawing. Let's take a look at the net worth charts actually and see what that might actually do to the itemization, as we know that mid-round buys can be a very real thing here. And I'm noticing the tier 3 cauterize come out of K. Crunchy, as K. Crunchy did die in that engagement. That might have just come up, and Mary Jane's kicking things off with 1 kill already. The long distance damage goes on to Hayes, who gets finished off by K. Crunchy. And once again, Clown Fiesta have the advantage. Big collateral. Oh, doesn't quite get the collateral fireball, but this payload's starting to roll forwards once again.
Look at Genos, this 12 streak, doing a great job surviving. That's one of the things that I really like to see out of healers, but forced all the way back to spawn to heal. And Clown Fiesta, it's looking a lot like last round. They're pushing with conviction. They're grouped up well. They're dealing this long-range damage that Cryptic is really struggling to stop. Let's see if they can push it all the way.
I Haven't Friends takes out Slappy. Mary Jane was about to go down there if Ryan got a flank going off, but already losing one member. K-Crunchy's forcing up on the high ground again. Oh, watch out. Almost knocked off the map with Kinetic Burst, but stays alive. Paradox takes out Nino Sassler as well, and K-Crunchy is moving forwards. Mary Jane setting up down the long sight lines, up on the high ground. I Haven't Friends getting ready to drop a Fire Spit salvo in just 3 seconds, and with 50 seconds left on the clock, Payload is getting close to conversion. Clown Fiesta have a very real opportunity to push this through.
And yeah, they're looking poised to do it. This forward frontliner, K-Crunchy, dismounting people, making sure nobody gets in full health, doing exactly what you want your Fernando to do, focusing down Music, making sure they don't have that frontline damage coming out either. K-Crunchy with the perfect positioning right now. Even though they died, they bought so much time for their team to push. But without Inara, Clown Fiesta is going to have to back off and try to regroup for one last strong push.
Got 15 seconds. It's a bit of a tough call there, but Inara's going for the edge play. Doesn't get dismounted. Inara's straight into the backline. This could be very dangerous. Paradox is about to get towards the objective. No healing, though, but gets the wall up. Oh, taken out there by Slappy at the end. Can't seismic crash, and that's enough zone. Team Cryptic defends successfully 2 times in a row. It is still 3 points up for Cryptic because he can't win off that defense, but Clown Fiesta, they're starting to close the gap.
Almost a hero play coming out of Inara. Shocking that Hayes wasn't able to dismount Paradox there. I was really expecting that easy dismount, but it didn't matter in the end. Sleppy doing just enough to survive and pick up the kill. And now Team Cryptic only up 1 point.
It's a good situation, but the problem that I'm seeing right now is Clown Fiesta have won the last 2 objective captures. They've won the last 2 rounds off the fact that they're capturing with the comeback mechanic enabled for 4% per tick instead of 3. So as soon as they win that one team fight, they're getting very far ahead. Now they're capturing for 7% for Team Cryptic's 6%. So 4% is 3.5 per tick, 4% then 3%. And unless they get a big early kill again, it could be dangerous. But look at the angle that's being held by Mary Jane. The damage is huge. Music's go down. That spray is certainly deserved. And Drogoz is already flanking out here up in the skies. Maybe overextending a little bit as Nino Sassler gets 1 kill, but that's 41% already for Clown Fiesta. And with Nino using Whirlwind now, that gives time for Paradox to get back towards the objective.
That was a really good opening salvo coming out of Clown Fiesta. They're already over 70%, but because they don't have the comeback mechanic, they haven't already won. Team Cryptic does have time to come back. That Dread Serpent missed almost everybody, just not very well placed.
Too late as well to be able to save their allies, and the only saving grace right now is that the respawns are coming back in for Clown Fiesta. They've got their Inara here. They're looking to find a way in, but Team Cryptic are ready to meet them with damage. King Bomb is available, and I'm looking towards maybe an aggressive play towards Mary Jane to try and lock them down. 1 sticky, 2. These big Royal Subjects bombs come through, but watch out, there's a Fernando looking for you. Ryan asserts dominance on the objective, but all the while, this K-Crunchy frontline is forcing enemies back. Pinned into a corner here, getting a bit of healing throughput. Ryan is able to contest, and here comes King Bomb. Unexceptional. Could it be the play?
Oh, kind of. It got 1 for 1 right there. Music picks up a kill, but dies in trade. Everybody's going down. We're 3 for 3 as it stands. Team Cryptic not on the point, though. Clown Fiesta looks like they've taken that one. We're in overtime, and it's going. Oh, but Grover gets there just in time.
Oh, no. Look at the damage coming through onto Nino Sassler. Make My Day ends their life. And I'm sorry, Make My Day. Was that was Spirit's Chosen. Okay, I heard that DOT, that damage over time kick, and I was wondering if it was Rakoto's Chosen Maldamba as a last-minute swap, but certainly not the case. This support is doing work for their team. Miss Dread Serpent aside, they've already got that cooldown backup. The ultimate is charged and ready. Well, let's look at the healing charts to see how well they're doing. Wow, 178,000 healing already.
That is a lot of healing. I mean, Maldamba is the most potent healer in this game by a wide margin, and we're seeing it right now. Make My Day is literally single-handedly keeping their entire team alive during these extended brawls.
And that's really impressive for a solo support right now, comparatively to the double support of, Nino Sassler playing this Efflorescence Grover as well as the Luminary Janus, but the onslaught of damage just keeps on coming through, and even though there's more healing overall for Team Cryptic, they can't seem to be able to withstand the constant barrage of rockets from I Haven't Friends.
These rockets have been so well placed, but more importantly, these spits have been so well placed. We keep seeing them hit 2 or 3 or sometimes 4 players at a time, and we're talking, that's upwards of 4,000 damage all at once when that goes down. Clown Fiesta pushing hard again. They are 95% of the way there, Vox.
Oh no, look at that. Slappy lands through time and space on the K-Crunchy, eliminating them. But there's a minute left to go. Minute and 5 seconds. And even though double frontline has fallen for Team Cryptic, Mary Jane gets another kill on the way back out. Nina Sassler falls. And with, oh my goodness, 185 health remaining, Mary Jane is tanked back up to full by Maldamba. Clown Fiesta have the respawns coming back on through. K-Crunchy is here and ready. This payload could be pushed through at any moment. Team Cryptic have to find a way to hold on.
I think Cryptic have a good defense. They've got a good spot set up here. 40 seconds is a long time, though, when the payload is this close and Maldamba has a Spirit's Chosen, or excuse me, a Dread Serpent ready, and there it goes, but answered by the Assert Dominance.
Once again, it's Ryan doing work for their team, and these slug shot damage well, these slugs are pounding in towards Clown Fiesta right now with Luminary. They do 552 damage a pop. I Haven't Friends tries to make their way in, but they just can't engage because out comes Hexafire as well. Music zones everybody away. Haste cleans up in mid-air with a sticky bomb as well. Royal Subjects doing work, and K-Crunchy, that's a desperation play. This payload might reach overtime, but the respawns are so far. It's just Paradox against the world, and I don't believe it. Team Cryptic on the back of another Assert Dominance. Unexceptional. They've made the defense.
3 in a row that they've defended, and their defenses have been on point. They've been so good. They let that payload push 99%, but 99 is the same as 0 when it comes to the score overall. But what they're struggling with is actually capturing these points outside of the first time. They need to make sure that they can keep Hayes alive. I think Hayes has been a little bit too aggressive in these engagements. I think Hayes needs to hang back, do that long-range damage, and make sure that Paradox and K-Crunchy are not allowed to sit on the point with full health.
Be really important there as well. And Hayes has been going for a lot of aggressive plays, and their slash line is actually relatively good with the overall. You've got over 30 eliminations on them, but 9 deaths. That's starting to stack up for a damage champion, and compared to the 7 of I Haven't Friends and Mary Jane, it is comparatively higher. Starting things off, Scout comes through, and Inara does go straight to the objective.
That's what Inara does. That's the only place Inara ever really wants to be, is on the objective or in front of the payload and stuff. That's unsurprising. What is surprising is how much trouble Ryan is having trying to get just to safety, but also on the objective. Again, Clown Fiesta putting up a great fight on this neutral point.
You know, it's funny you said that Inara wants to be in front of the objective, and then immediately she goes in front of Ash, body blocking the shoulder bash to be able to get out of danger. But not again! Oh my goodness! Through time and space, finds one already. Hayes takes out I Haven't Friends mid Dragon Punch. Out comes the Whirlwind from Nino Sassler, looking to hold things down for their team, and at last the Inara is collapsed upon. What a retake from Team Cryptic, and that's point control at 93% to Clown Fiesta. Back to Cryptic in blue.
Timing on that King Bomb detonation was perfect. You don't get better than that. To pick off the Dragon Punch, I didn't even see them on the screen from their point of view. So I don't know if they heard something or they sensed it or it was good communication, but it was absolutely perfect. Shut down that ultimate, pick up a big kill. And now look at where Ryan is on the other team's spawn, making sure nobody gets out for free. Picking up the double kill. What? Ryan played out of their mind right now, taunting a little early though. This game's not over.
I mean, I think it already is. As Team Cryptic, there they go. There's the capture. Ryan got 4 in a row as Slugshot Ash just sitting in the enemy backline. And they were so focused on you've got to be focused on the objective. That's game point. That's set point. You've got to get back there. But unfortunately, that left the backline of Clown Fiesta open and vulnerable, and Ryan capitalized. Luminary boosted Slugshot Ash is scary. That's 111,000 damage, unexceptional.
111,000 on Ash is a lot.
You're not kidding. I mean, that's a lot on anybody, but good grief.
That's a filthy combo that I hope we see more of in the future. This is how Janos should be played on these newer patches. 66,000 damage is the enemy Maldamba. 141,000 healing is not nearly 273, but with the help of Grover on Nina Sassler, they end up healing for more than Genos did. So the healing is there as a team comp.
And you know, the more I see it, the more I like this Efflorescent Grover. That passive healing in a big Blossom area, and the fact that Blossom's area AoE is increased, so you can actually use your Blossom active heal to be able to boost people up by that big 1000 burst is so valuable in a lot of close quarter situations. It lets you effectively split your focus. Maybe your main throughput healer or your support, or Slappy can boost whoever they need to in terms of damage. Nino can keep somebody else safe the entire time and pocket Slappy if necessary, and that's why as well, look at Slappy's deaths on the scoreboard right now. 66,000 damage, it's actually the lowest in the game with the exception of Make My Day, which is expected for a Maldamba. 141,000 healing, but only 3 deaths, and that's the remarkable part.
Yeah, when you're not dying, you're not giving the other team money, but more importantly, you're always doing something as long as you're alive, be it a little bit of poke damage, a little bit more healing, something, and that's what's important with those 3 deaths.
Alrighty folks, it's time to go ahead and look at the bracket once again to see how things have gone down. This was the first of the semi-final sets of today's ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup. Team Cryptic took a 2-0 over Clown Fiesta, but I would say it was a pretty hard-fought one based on that last game. Very close, could have gone to Clown Fiesta if they'd played that last objective a little differently, but hats off to Team Cryptic for some masterful retake potential and great drafting throughout this series. Coming up next is Blazing Hussars versus the Bulls. I'll be back on the mic. Unexceptional will be dipping for just a second, but we'll be back in the finals, don't you worry. And I'll be joined by the one, the only, the Sorsen. And we'll see you back once again after the break. Hello and welcome back then, champions of the realm, to this ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup. My name is Vox, and this time around I am joined by, well, it's a familiar face if you recognize it, or a familiar voice at least. There's been a bit of a name change going on here, a bit of a rebranding, so why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, please, Sorsen?
Well, I am Sorsen, also known formally as the Absurd Gamer. We've changed some stuff around, and honestly, I think I'm going to stick with this because I enjoyed a lot. If you guys don't know, this is a play of words off of my last name, so it works pretty well into my name overall, and I'm happy to go forward with it.
Gotta say, that's a better reasoning behind my name. My handle was originally Vox Tempus, which is Voice of Time, and it comes from this like edgy like teenage phase where I was like, I'm making a Latin IGN, and it just, unfortunately, the voice part stuck. I feel quite lucky in that regard because, oh my goodness, I had some really sort of like super edgy handles when I was going through my gaming phases. But that's not about that's rambling again, folks. That's getting off on a tangent. We're so good at that. Got to actually put some gameplay up on this stream at some point. So we just saw Team Cryptic take down Clown Fiesta 2-0, hard fought in the second game. Hussars versus Bulls though. This is going to be an interesting one. Let's have a look at Blazing Hussars lineup to start things off, and you can see it on screen right here. We've got Kamika, the Baku, Dyla, Grafis, and Zexalos, all Polish team, and a lot of members which we've encountered, and again, a roster which we've encountered several times before. How was their path through the bracket today? How did they get to the semifinals?
Well, looking through the bracket, they have been facing up versus some pretty well-known teams such as Team Cosmic, actually no, Aim5, Nemesis, IV Sports, all of these names that we've seen into the finals, and Blazing Hussars have just triumphed over all of these games.
And it is just best of ones, folks, in the ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup up until the semi-finals, so you've got to be in it to win it. You never want to go into these situations going, well, you know, we've got more chances. If we don't take the first game, it's like, no. You've got to win the first game. That's all that matters here. And it matters well for Bulls. And looking at their roster on screen right now, they're led by Sadislav, or Sadzislav. I'm so sorry, I'm terrible with pronunciation. I will probably get used to that as we go through. Blast Q, Toot Toot, Deft, and Crow. And Deft and Crow, unless they are name changes, some newer members to the Go4Paladins Europe Cup in this competitive scene, but Blast Q, a well-known player as well within Ranked, and Toot Toot is a very long-standing name at this point. Great Ruckus player specifically within this European scene. I'm excited to see how they perform, but how did they fare through their path in the bracket early on?
Well, if we're looking through their bracket, they were up versus some Team Viral and also Royal League, more well-known names, and the fact that they have won out throughout these games is just fantastic in my eyes, and it's great to see new and upcoming teams get into these semifinals and finals bracket. Let's really see how they come down versus a well-known team like Blazing Hussars.
This is sort of the fantastic thing about Community Cups, right? It's where all of these teams get to come in, they get to test their mettle, they get to cut their teeth, and go up against some more well-known names in an environment which encourages competitive play and encourages, you know, giving your all in these situations as well. There is cash and crystal pricing on the line in the Go4 weekly open bracket qualifier cups, and a bigger cash prize pool in the monthly finals, which is what you're competing for, as well as Go4 points in all these open bracket cups. Map draft is up on screen though. Sorsen, take me through it.
Well, we're starting off with the ban away of Frog Isle, a very well-known ban, as a lot of members don't enjoy playing on that, especially with Torvald being a good pickup right now in the meta. His Hyper Beam, pushing everybody off the map, taking people with Drogos Combustible. I mean, there are just so many knockbacks at the moment that are playing in a meta that Frog Isle is such a dangerous map. And moving on to ban number 2, Stone Keep, that's being thrown out of the direction. Maybe the verticality of the map, or just teams aren't playing too well to it at the moment.
I feel like this Stone Keep ban as well, that always feels when I see it like a targeted ban, so this might be Bulls doing their research and saying, well, Blazing Hussars played this strategy on Stone Keep. We don't have an answer for that strategy to the same degree that they can play it, so let's just take this map off the table. Does leave in some old favorites. There's the old Timber Mill and the Ice Market and the Fish Market in there, but it's Jaguar Falls where we're going first. Blazing Hussars know this, they love it. It's home turf and home territory for them, and I think that they should be in an interesting setup here to be able to get going. And with that in mind, let's go ahead and take a look at our champion drought for map number 1 of this second semi-final set between Blazing Hussars and Bulls. Blazing Hussars start off with the first pick, Bulls with second. Bans are on the table. Sorsen, do you think we're going to get to see a Torvald?
I think Torvald's probably going to be banned away, in all honesty. One thing I've seen work so well on Jaguar Falls for Blazing Huzzahs is Kamikur's, just his Talus gameplay, and on a map that is so stable, it works so well for his style, but as we're seeing through the bans, Torvald and Makoa are both out of there.
So arguably the top two teams in the amateur competitive scene in Europe right now, heavily prioritizing the Ruckus, and again, it's been this Missile Barrage legendary through and through every single time. I wouldn't be surprised if that's what we have going around, and last week it certainly put in some work. Not Damba to follow for Bulls, and they get some damage online as well, so they're taking the Cassie here, but this leaves Ash open.
Cassie's a very well contested pick, but as you're speaking, Ash is open, also Bomb King is open. Both of them counter out the Cassie so well, and with the area damage, Maldamba is going to have a lot of hard time healing throughout the team, and as we're speaking it, Bomb King and Ash are both picked up.
I was gonna say, you're sounding like, are you looking at the draft and have you got all of these details in front of you before they're going live? I mean,
honestly, I wish.
Well, all I can say about that, folks, is that it would be nice if we could see this coming through, if we could be pre-prepared, but no, it's Grok who is locked in next for the side of Bulls. They're gonna grab the Fernando as well, so they're getting double support going on, and I like the fact they're stripping Grok away from Blazing Huzzahs. We know that Dyla for Blazing Huzzahs plays a really mean Grok. You know, this is a player of the background in a lot of other shooters. They've got a big history in Counter-Strike, and they're very good at tracking, so taking that pick away is putting Bulls in a more favorable spot. Bulls, though, they have the Blazing Huzzahs have the opportunity to respond here, and oh goodness, this is a bit of a first. We got a Ceres on the battlefield.
I have not seen a Ceres gameplay in a long time, and looks like they're going to go for the double healer composition, which is worked out so well in other games, favorable, but when it comes to Ceres, I don't know how that's going to play into their team composition. Bomb King's the only really divey composition that you might find into the backline. Other than that, the heal output is going to be there for Blazing Huzzahs.
Yeah, and they've got the Genos with the Luminary as well, and that's what I'm worried about. We saw Ash with played by Ryan in the last game on Frog Isle, pocketed by a Luminary Genos, swinging for over 500 damage a shot, just chunking away at these targets, and Blazing Huzzahs have got a strong lineup. It's up to them to see if they can really chip down Bulls, as Bulls have a very good point hold defense here, and I'm excited to see them go head to head. Once again, folks, we've got 2 minutes on the clock. This is map number 1 of the second set of semi-finals of the day. We'll be back in just a moment once we've got ourselves set up in game. Don't go anywhere, and in the meantime, let me know who you think is going to come out on top based on these drafts in chat, regardless of whether you're watching on Twitch or Mixer or YouTube Live. Hello and welcome back everybody to the ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup. My name is Hi-Rez Vox. I'm joined by Sorsen here for map number 1 of the second set of semi-finals of the day. This best of 3 set between Blazing Hussars fighting out of the blue corner and Bulls in the red trunks on the right hand side of your spectator UI. Sorsen, take me through some of the legendaries. What's interesting here? What's different? And actually, I'm gonna redirect you there. Look at Ceres.
Which he's taking the Void Abide, something we haven't seen any Ceres take or any Ceres at all, over to the Luminary Genos, and everything else seems a little typical when we're running into the defensive play. Now, starting off the gameplay, that is going to be First Blood going down. BlazQ gets that pick off.
Already, and oh no, the Baku could be in a lot of trouble here. Shadow Travel isn't going to save you from the afterburn from Crow. Now they've found a phenomenal flank working with BlazQ there as well, and Bulls come out on top of that initial engagement, which is quite surprising. Blazing Hussars are expected to do well here. There's a lot of pressure on them, and they get completely taken by surprise.
I'm surprised that little collapse and conversation between the team just wasn't there. Communication might have not been working out well, but now it depends on Blazing Hussars how they're going to get back into this and touch the objective before overtime ticks.
They're going for a retake. Grafis comes back in though. One kill to BlazQ again, and this Cassie is looking to do more work, but Grafis is back and Grumpy Bomb will deny the objective for a little while. Inara, Deft activates the Mother's Grace Earthen Guard, so CC Immune is able to withstand, and Kamika tries to put the pressure onto BlazQ. This Cassie could be in a lot of trouble, but BlazQ drops the damage. There's Scout coming out already. Maldamba with the Mending Spirits gets the pocket heal going, and they're being collapsed upon in the middle. Blazing Hussars in so much trouble. BlazQ finds one. Dialer gets shut down by Toot Toot. 2 kills for the small Grok. Show me some emotes in chat, and 99% overtime ticks through. That is Bulls for the first capture of the game.
Blazing Hussars just, they all grouped up in one corridor and were bursted down so quickly by the Grok Tempest and everything else through the shock pulse, was able to just bounce around while BlazQ had free range to deal damage from afar with just Breathe Legendary. That's so much damage outputted for absolutely no counter ability.
And looking at it on the screen right now, normally we see the Bomb King starting to be in more contention with the Cassie, especially on a small and compact map like Jaguar Falls, but Cassie and Grok are surging ahead right now. And speaking of, Bulls are pushing up very rapidly. Here's the Tempest coming through from Grok as well. 2-2 pocketing Yanara. Deft is racing forwards, trying to keep everybody trapped in their spawn. Shock Pulse will do a good job of disruption, and little by little they pull back as the payload is very close to conversion with 1 minute and 40 seconds on the clock.
Already 75, taking up to 80, and now on the left side, we're going to start out with Mal Dominance. Dread Serpent to engage onto this. Kamika tries to get down the ultimate, but Cert Dominance will not land through time and space. Is able to get some damage to come through, but not enough to pick it off, and the payload is pushing so far, it's contested at the last tick.
BlazQ finds 3 in a row there as well. Dial around the corner, executed by a blast shot and Deft's last shot, and wow, what a way to start things off. That's a 2-0 already from Bulls, the underdog team coming into this that seems to have something to prove. Let's take a look at the itemization. How's it looking, Sorsen? What do we got going on so far?
Well, as we're looking through, Bulls are picking up their tier 2s, especially for Cauterize and Wreckers, but what's really onto the board is that all tier 1s are still outputting for Blazing Hussars. They don't have the economy to pick up these items, and if we're looking over to the damage dealt charts, we can see why.
5, 4.
Look at that, it's
3,
Cassie right at the top
2,
here. Blazing Hussars
1.
is trying to do some work, but they're not quite catching up fast enough. But the saving grace, once again, as usual, is Grafis on Bomb King, and King Bomb is ready. Capture boost is engaged with Blazing Hussars as well. They capture a little bit faster than Bulls, and they're starting to chip down their opponents. Haven't been caught out quite as well this time around, and 2-2 takes initial focus fire. Grumpy Bomb repositioning from Grafis, lands him into a good place, and arcing over the top. BlazQ goes down. That's all of the damage already stripped from Bulls.
Kamika does have that position onto the middle ground, and she does have a Cert Dominance, but now Bulls are just caught out of place. They need to regroup onto this objective, or else it's just going to be picked off one by one, and it seems like they do have the time to do it. Blazing Hussars are taking out with that payload, 58%.
Here comes the Tempest in response to a Cert Dominance from Ash comes out just to withstand or withhold on that objective and give your king a big hug, they say, in combination with the conversions. Croc gets evaporated. Inara can't withstand that. Doesn't matter how much damage reduction you have. And Blazing Hussars capture back, answer back 1 and 2, and that was such a beautiful combo.
Mother's Grace will not save you there when you can't get any healing or out of position. Now, Bulls, they're caught into the objective. They need to look for some sort of hold, and this is where Blazing Hussars either take a pick or they look for some ultimate collapse. It all depends on what they want to do to initiate this fight.
Well, they're going to at least manage to pick off Grafis to start things off. Sadislav sitting at the back, trying to heal up Blastku with the Mending Spirits as well. And 1 minute and 55 seconds, we are seeing a contest come through onto the payload, with Deft able to heal up very rapidly there, thanks to the pocket support of Gord and Mending Spirits combined. And Gord positions so far from Bulls have been good. Looking at the healing charts, we can see that Zadislav is really starting to tick up that number right here compared to the Ceres and Janus in combo, but I'm wondering how Blazing Hussars are going to start this push off.
I think they're going to look for an initiate. They do have Ruckus ult if they want to start that off, but also Janus has the through time and space. It depends on what they want to collapse upon. And it looks like Kamika's already going to go down in the middle. That's one trade for one, and now Bulls, they're a little caught out of point.
They're in a bit of a dangerous situation here. And again, this healing is coming through. Bulls do manage to withstand, and look at the amount of top-up that's going on to this Inara as soon as they're in trouble. Deft gets brought low maybe, out comes the pocket from Aldamba, and no way to make your way through, but Blazing Hussars are now going for a bit of a flank. Kamika's behind. Oh no, Inara's sandwiched between Ash and the Bomb King here, Grafis as well, but now Kamika's the one in trouble. Out comes Dread Serpent. That's an easy pick-off, and Blazing Hussars have got to fall back.
Bulls are not afraid to use these ultimates and utilize them well for this defensive choke. Now, Blastku's just going to find 2, and Baku's jumping off the ledge for 3. A full reset for Blazing Hussars, and what does it come down to when we go for the initiate and Blazing Hussars look for an opening?
Not fat fingering E would be a good start, folks. That's an accidental ult by Grok, and whilst we can joke about it, that might have very well given up a potential future point control from Bulls right now. That is a very useful re-engagement tool, and sensing that opportunity, Blazing Hussars are going in for it. They know that one ultimate is down. Out comes the convergence. Only pulls in Crow. Too late on the trigger with through time and space as well, so it doesn't really pick much up, but Blazing Hussars have regained control of this objective push with 2 kills, and they are going for conversion here, it looks like.
Zexlos has free fire onto the back line. He's looking for some damage to come through, and Grafis is now pushing out with the bomb. Grumpy bomb is going to be denied, though. In pass wall, keeps it onto the point. Blazing Hussars are rounding out the corner, and now it depends on how Bulls are going to collapse onto this team fight.
So far, so good. Blazing Hussars are moving their way in. Look at that. The Void abides with starting to top up 2 players at once, but losing 1. It's an even trade. Blastku and Grafis pick up a couple of different members. Baku goes into shadow travel here for just a second, but gets obliterated as Blastku hits their mark. Ash asserts dominance, though. Kamika's trying to hold on to the objective. Zexlos gets taken out by Blastku, and this could be a defense to put Bulls up at 3-1. Grafis is not picked out of the air. Blastku is holding the angle. Needs a heal here desperately as the respawns are coming through, but Bulls do defend successfully. It is 3-1 on the objective. Blazing Hussars might pick up a loss here if they're not very careful.
They need to work around this positioning, and that's really where they're falling short, especially to this Shock Pulse Grok. We can see him out putting a lot of damage, and now that we're running through the rest of the team, Bulls, they have very good objective and point control with the Inara, with the Fernando, and now they have 4 ultimates online, all to defend out this point and push for an objective control.
And I feel like those ultimates are going to be so important. Even Tempest is almost back up again, and that's quite impressive considering that that was wasted with maybe only 30 seconds left to go on the point. The problem is, looking back at the items again, it's level 3 cauterize for 3 players. Grafis is sitting on a level 3 Raka here. Blazing Hussars can shut down all the sustain that Bulls won the first objective with. How have they got to approach this to be able to pull out a win in this next objective fight?
It depends on what they're going to initiate with. Grafis has the Bomb King on live if he wants to use the King Bomb, and now it comes down to controlling this left side. 27% already going in favor of Bulls, and Zexlos is the first one to get the pick.
Oh, and that's a bit of trouble coming through as well. Look at Kamika's positioning here on the Ash as well. There's the Luminary damage coming through. So much chunk potential on this Beefcake, this War Machine, and Blazing Hussars do take initial control of the objective after Bulls picked up 45%. Big deficit when they lost their Grok as well. Toot self-healing thanks to Cauterize wasn't enough to keep them alive, but they're going for the re-engage here. Here comes Dread Serpent. Gaze into the abyss, says the Baku, pulls in Def's Inara, but Inara survives. Crow takes out Zexlos. This is such a good position for Bulls to be in, but oh no, out comes Dyla with 2 in a row. Grafis potentially looking for a double of their own. Down lands the sticky bomb with the stagger as well. That's a double-double. Blazing Azars keep themselves in it. Capture through to blue team.
Such a good use of ults for Blazing Hussars. They were able to find the Fernando right after the Immortal was finished. Although they might have used 2 ultimates on top of it, Blasky was the next to fall by Grafis, and with that, Blazing Hussars, they have the advantage here with the Kamikaze ult still available, so holding out these chokes is going to be very strenuous on them.
It's going to be difficult, to say the least. Kamikaze does have the ultimate, though. They really need to hold the choke point here, and actually picking up a kill on the Blasky might be useful if they're able to force their way through. Blasky does retreat, though, and Kamikaze is being met with a lot of heavy resistance, being poked down to about half their health, so it has to be very, very careful. Cassie uses Scout, make sure that they can see Kamikaze around the corner, tries to land the execution through, 772 health remaining, needs to retreat there, but Ro locks off the angle. Big fireball combo could come out, and dangerous position for Blazing Azars to be in if some maybe AoE damage comes through, and here it is. Kills starting to surge in favor of the Bulls.
Team fight is swinging forward, and Blazing Hussars are all dropping. Tyler, though, with Grafis and Kamikaze all have the ultimates online, and it comes back to the point where now with Kamikaze, Zexlos, and everyone else getting those tier 3 itemization online, it comes down to how are they going to play this position and what they're going to utilize when it comes to damage and outputting potential.
The thing that I'm concerned about most right now is Zexlos finds 1 kill on the peripheral left-hand side of this defense. Bulls, they've lost a member. They're about to lose their Fernando as well as the Beast takes out Crow. And they're so split up, they're not working around the central area. Tutu's actually going to give up their life just to respawn with the rest of the team, and that might have been a good decision as, look at Deft, so staggered here.
Now that with the stagger, they're coming around the corner, this is 38 seconds to push it through, and Bulls have a hard time getting out of the spawn already. With the ultimates not online, how are they going to hold this point?
I'm not sure if they can. Nobody's stepping up to the point. It's Crow at last, but they're stunned out already. Stepping very far back, the Baku does have convergence if necessary, and that ultimate could pull everybody in together. There's an opportunity right here. They turn around to make sure that Janos gets topped back up again. Grafis finds 1. The sticky bombs start landing through. Round the corner, Crow is brought to a fraction of their life just left. Grafis turns their attention towards Maldamba. Zexlos finds 1. Deft is starting to lose health as they are being focused by all members with the Grumpy Bomb stun. There's the kinetic burst as well. Kamikaze finds the double kill. And Blazing Azars just push it on through without even needing to expel 1 ultimate.
Not at all, and it's not going to be enough for Bulls to really hold on. Now it really comes down to this team fight potential. 10 ultimates online, both teams utilizing them so well throughout the previous team fights, and as we're looking forward, it just adjusts to each playstyle and how the teams are going to range around with every play that's going to come through, honestly.
So, looking at the items online, I'm seeing Resilience is starting to come out for Blazing Azars, and that'll help with the stun from Dread Serpent, or the fear from Dread Serpent, the stun from Inara Seismic Crash. That's an undervalued item by a lot of more amateur teams until you get to the high-level competitive scene. Being able to respond from that stun very quickly is so important, and they might allow Kamikaze to maybe get some damage potential off or some survivability if they get their ultimate going. But round the back, Cassie isn't looking in the right direction. Oh no, here comes through time and space. Kamikaze asserts dominance, but they're caught out by the Maldamba. But there's the Resilience coming into play, and now the damage is starting to rain onto Toot Toot. Zexlos finds 1 with the Rocket Barrage missiles. Zexlos finds a double kill. Here comes the shoulder bash straight towards the objective, and now it's Grafis who's engaging, burning down Fernando's shield, just holding mouse 1, throwing their sticky bombs, and everybody is falling down in their path. No way are they going to withstand all of that damage, and Blazing Azars have set themselves up to position for victory at 42, now 45% and climbing.
Bulls are going to be onto the initiate. They look for some sort of window of opportunity to find an engagement, but now with the payload already taken 81%, 89, and it's still rising, they need to touch at some point.
Here we go. It's just not going to happen. King Bomb to close it all out. What do you do to that? Sorsen, you've got no answer to it. It's just straight up damage, and with that, Blazing Azars do pick up map number 1. 4-3 was the scoreline, but they turn it around and claim victory.
Bulls played out such a good job in the early game, utilizing the Cassie damage, and Toot Toot with the Shock Pulse was able to find so much potential between each line. But as Blazing Hussars adapted, learned their playstyle, and realized we need to be the aggressors, we need to find the initiation and look for some sort of way to get around to the backline without actually having a flank, they did it, capitalized upon Kamiker, utilizing assert dominance in the backline, and just stood there, standing ground and doing damage, and that was just enough for them to retake most objectives.
And it's such an unfortunate situation right there at the end, because Scout was active when Kamiker managed to get this huge flank off and put the pressure onto Blasku, forcing them to dodge roll into, I think, a Hexafire from Zexalos. And that's just not a situation where you want to be in. Scout was active, they should have seen that coming, but like the Persona 5 soundtrack, you'll never see it coming, folks, and with that in mind, it was a 4-3 victory to Blazing Hussars in Map 1. Map number 2, we're going off to Brightmarsh.
Ooh, alright, so I'm ready for a Brightmarsh pickup. This is one of my favorite maps. Reevaluated that multiple times, reestablished that with everyone, that this is a enclosed, tightly spaced map. We can see some weird picks picked off, like maybe an Antraxis, as we've not seen him played too often. He's not really in meta at the moment, but picks like Inara, Fernando, Bomb King, all of those work so well around this tightly areaed control point.
And we'll have to see how the champion draft goes down in just a second, folks. I do need to let you know that we're experiencing some difficulties with the mixer side of the broadcast, so I will need to take the stream down for a brief moment just to change the ingest server, in the hope that it's just an issue with one of those and we can get the stream back up and smooth and rolling for everybody who is watching on that platform. To everybody else, the stream will be coming down in just a moment for a brief period of time, maybe 1 to 2 minutes. We'll be back up again. I'll post in chat that you need to hit F5, get that refresh going. We'll be back before you know it, so please don't go anywhere. And map number 2 of this semi-final set will be coming up in just a second. Hello and welcome back, champions of the realm, to this semi-finals set of the ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup, as we do enter the champion draft for map number 2 of Bright Marsh. My name, once again, if you just missed it, was Hi-Res Vox, is still Hi-Res Vox, actually, speaking of. But I am joined by Sorsen. Sorsen, this is going to be an exciting one. Hopefully, if you're watching on Mixer, you can actually see the stream this time and it's all smooth. Please let me know if there are any further issues. We'll try and get them resolved as soon as possible. But on a map like Bright Marsh, with Bulls having the first pick, first ban, they're taking away Cassie here.
Ooh, so Cassie, not too contested on a map that is so enclosed like this one, especially when she doesn't have the range upon other enemies, but in return, it looks like Blazing Hussars are just going to take out the Makoa, and that leaves open a Torvald to be picked up.
It leaves open a Torvald and a Ruckus with the Maldamba first pick as well, and you can see that immediately the Torvald just comes straight on through, and I wouldn't be surprised as well. Yeah, it's the frontline priority for Blazing Hussars because they know that that's what can potentially win them games. The enabler and the damage that comes out of these two champions is supreme. What is left in the tank for Bulls to respond with then?
I mean, they still have the Ashe composition, as she worked very well on Kamiker last time, and also they have a pickup of running maybe a 3 damage if they want to go for it, or an Inara who also locks down the point so well, but looks like they're gonna utilize and look for the damage at the moment.
So you'd think, right? This is not too bad of a strat. Bulls know that they've got 2 front lines online already for Blazing Hussars. They're unlikely to go into a third here. They can maybe leave the Ashe to a little bit later, but you'll never see it coming. Blazing Hussars go, you're going to give us the Ashe? The Ashe that deals so much damage over a phenomenal distance with Slugshot? I don't think so. They're going to strip that right away as well. They'll keep on lining up their rounding up their lineup, excuse me, with a Grok for some pocket healing.
Oh, Grok works so well on this map, especially with 3 tanks upcoming, and now it comes down to what are Bulls going to respond with. They look for the Inara and go into the Fernando, so that is point control in their favor, but the issue still is how are they going to break down the shields of Torvald, Ruckus, and Ashe at the same time?
Well, if you want any 2 champions to do that, you've got to argue that Bomb King and Shalin are really 2 of the best in that situation. So I'm excited to see how that would go, but I am concerned that just the ferocity from Blazing Hussars is going to be difficult to deal with. They've got a lot of potential pocket healing from this Ceres. Sorsen, looking at the compositions, how do you feel they're going to break down in game? Who are you giving the edge to here?
Honestly, I have to give it over to Blazing Hussars, as they have the 3 tanks with all of the shields online, and in return, a Grok and Ceres also to keep the team alive the whole time. It depends on how they play the starting of the match though, and honestly, let's jump into it in just a minute.
We'll be back then, folks, after the break. Don't go anywhere, and let us know who you're rooting for in the meantime. And welcome back then, champions, as we enter map number 2 between Bulls and Blazing Hussars here in the semi-final set. And it isn't 0-0 on the scoreboard, folks. It is actually Blazing Hussars who are currently up 1 game. So looking at the legendary source, and take me through what we're going through here, because we haven't seen a Charlene in so long, and I'm interested to see what they're running to start off.
Well, it looks like the legendary that has been picked up recently is Recurve for Shaolin. Now, if we're looking through any other legendaries, Rocket Barrage, Maelstrom, Thanks Grandpa, the Void Abides, all favorable and more well-known legendaries.
Oh, watch out, Kamika. Thanks, Grandpa, maybe, but Kamika gets pulled into a bit of a dangerous situation. 2-2 can stick a lot of sticky bombs to him right now. First blood, though, goes to Grafis already. Crow finds Kamika, which was kind of expected, but Blazing Hussars are starting to collapse around, and this could be a very dangerous situation. Down goes the totem. Look at the healing coming through onto Grafis from 2 of the supports on Blazing Hussars, and one by one, they just take Bulls out so systematically.
It felt like BlastQ and Toot didn't have the communication between the team to know that the tanks were collapsing around the back. Even though Deft had full vision on that, they were not expecting or really ready for this play, and now Blazing Hussars are going to take the objective based off that one collapse.
And here's a big thing, right? I feel like it's knowing that something is coming, because there may have been that communication and say, okay, maybe we know that the collapse is coming through, but do they necessarily know how to respond? And that might be a no in this situation, as a team which hasn't played together for quite as long.
Now, looking onto the backline, Toot's just outputting the damage, and they're returning the fire fairly well, but Blazing Hussars, they still have that 2-healer composition and enough damage and tankiness to get back onto this objective fairly quickly.
They do indeed, but then again, Bulls do bring a lot of damage. Blazing Hussars, they try and use the Tempest here to keep at least the Ruckus alive, but that just isn't happening. And I feel like we're starting to see a bit more of the deficit of this triple frontline composition, as even though Blazing Hussars are pushing forwards, it's taking a lot of chip damage from them to be able to do so. They haven't got the burst to be able to take out members very quickly.
And with that, Toot actually overextends to the back line, and now they're starting off with a Dread Servant, trying to defend this objective. Crow and BlastQ both get a kill. In return, Blazing Hussars are now onto the stable. They're trying to look for maybe some kill on the Crow, but it seems like he's just going to stay alive with the Maldamba healing, and now the defense is back to Bulls.
This is a good situation for Bulls, and only really achieved off of the back of 2 ultimates, which is comparatively better than you might expect. BlastQ as well, playing the Shaolin, should be able to deal a lot of damage, charge their ultimate very quickly. I love that they're holding the angle around the impasse, but hits the wall. BlastQ just able to get out of danger there, starts to retreat, but Sarah says, get over here, gaze into the abyss, and that could be a lot of area damage coming through as Ruckus brings out the big guns. Zexalos finds one, Grafis for the second. There go the missiles onto Deft at long range, and now all of Blazing Hussars are starting to push further forwards.
Even though Convergence was denied, we are going to see Tempest Storm come out, and that's another kill going down. Chemiker and Baku both pick up 1, and Bulls, they're very low on the deficit. They need to touch this objective, and it's pushing so far through. That's Immortal starting things off with a Bomb King going in for the King Bomb.
Oh, Torvald's down, that's big, because that removes the potential for a Hyper Beam conversion. Toot staying alive as well, dealing some damage, but the Baku does take them out. The problem is the respawns are here. Sourcing this, looks like Bulls have got it. Blazing Hussars are starting to back off, and with those ultimates, Immortal and King Bomb, I think they might just have it in the bag.
Now, it's a 1-1 defense, and as you were saying, they had the potential and output to get onto this objective and utilize the Torvald Hyper Beam, but it looks like he was not set up in the position to do it, and now they might have just faltered for it, as 1-1 is going to be the defense for Bulls. And with that, they can pick up items. As we're running through the items, let's start by talking what have they got.
Well, so far it looks like tier 2 offensive itemization, the Cauterize, the Wrecker especially, which is so imperative versus 3 shielding front lines, is coming online for BlastQ. The net worth is staggered in favor of Blazing Hussars, but not by much because they got that neutral capture. The thing that I'm looking at specifically right here is the ultimate economy actually going into this next round. Blazing Hussars used everything but Hyper Beam to try and convert there, but Bulls, they've still got 3 in the tank, and the big one I'm looking towards is maybe a Heat Haze play, but here's Ash coming for a flank. Blast Q is in a lot of trouble already, and they go straight into that Heat Haze, try to burn down this Ash, and Grafis has nowhere to go, but Grafis is outboxing. Blast Q's missing shots with the jump shot in, or the mid-air inaccuracy on Charlene as well. No kills achieved for Bulls, and in fact they lose 2-2 already, and this is a really bad situation as once again out comes Convergence.
No.
Blast Q gets pulled in, and that is Dyla obliterating them. This is all for Blazing Hussars right now. They played that perfectly.
Wow, the issue there is that once Blazing Hussars, they can back up, they have the double healer to keep themselves alive, and with the health bars just instantly regenerating with that Saris and Grok, it's just so difficult if you cannot burst down, especially a Grafis that's moving onto the back line without the assert dominance up.
Grafis is now a playable character. And actually, speaking of that in just a second, Dyla pretty much is synonymous with Grok at this point. I think we could have those names interchangeable. Nice use of Tempest this time around to be able to top everybody back up to full, and the protection from Torvald does actually end up absorbing a big arrow from Shaolin as well, and you can see that just focusing down the deployable, making sure that Inara can't obstruct everybody. Dyla's leading this team forwards. He's also leading the damage charts.
Looking for the Hyper Beam setup, maybe. Gamaker, he has the position to move through. It depends on how Bulls are going to defend this, and now that's 2 dropping. They need to go for the reset, and if Inara's staggered out here, that just might be a big issue, and it looks like they're going to go for that.
I don't think that, in all intents and purposes, nice stagger as well, as they just hold the kill on deft. I don't think that Kamika needs the Hyper Beam. Kamika just goes for kills at this point, but now the Hyper Beam is available. If somebody wants to move in to defend, they're going to get sent backwards, and Crow has activated Immortal, and here's the problem. But in comes the King Bomb. Toot Toot rolls towards Kamika, but Kamika survives, and now out comes the Hyper Beam. Grok surges with power as well. Tempest is here, but that's a CC immune Inara who doesn't get sent for, flying backwards, but still, it's just the Stone Warden against the world, and Blazing Hussars do manage to push it through. The kill onto deft from Dyla.
Just kills after kills, and Baku, I have to give it to the Sarah. She's played so well with positioning, but not just that. Also, her damage output, I don't know if it's on charts right now.
You can have a look.
No, it's not.
It's
She
not
might
there.
be at the bottom. But she has been picking up these very noticeable kills, such as onto Blast Q and Toot Toot when they're moving onto the back line and trying to find a Kamika that may be caught out of position, or even a Grafis who's very far up onto the point.
And it's not just the kills that they're picking up, which are the impactful ones as well. I'm looking at the healing charts on screen right now, and Saris is keeping up almost entirely with Maldamba. As a Void abides Saris, not a mortal reach with that extra 1,000 healing on your throughput from Restore Soul. This is really impressive work coming from the Baku so far. 13 streak has Convergence in the tank, throws it out. That should pull it at least Blast Q, and not again. The Baku takes down the Charlene to start things off. This is a good look for Blazing Hussars.
It depends on how they're going to initiate this onto the sideline. Crow and Toot Toot are caught out of position, and if they're staggered about, it looks like they're just going to jump off the map. And now 30%, and it's rising. This is a 3-1. If Blazing Hussars get this, they win out this objective, but they're not looking to pressure up and get them off their horses.
Yeah, Dyla's lack of zoning potential here is actually something that I'm quite surprised at. Normally you'd expect this Grok to be pushing forwards and looking for the shock pulse dismounts, but Dyla's playing it safe. Doesn't want to get caught out as capture boosters in favor of Bulls, and they can easily take back this objective. Crow is getting focused down. Your sight fails you, says Charlene, but Blaski's too low on health and has to be very, very careful here, so nothing's really achieved. Toot Toot has found one for the Bulls. They're looking for a second one here, flanking around from behind. Kamika gets taken down by Blast-Q. Big kill there, and maybe Bulls have a way back into it. Surging with power is Dyla here, but look at the sticky bomb accuracy just surging through. King Bomb is ready. This could be huge. Down goes Dyla. Toot Toot escapes to safety, and the Bulls are at 54% and rising on the objective, but they're very low on health.
They're barely just holding on, and depth is now low. Toot Toot's looking for the initiate with King Bomb, and that's going to land right onto the Ruckus, who's stunned down onto the sideline, but Convergence will come through. It catches out depth, and Zexlos is going to get the first one. Cavalier picks up the second, and now it looks like the rest of Bulls are going to fall for this.
It just doesn't matter. Bulls had the opportunity, they had the numbers, but again, Blazing Hussars were playing it so well. Down goes the Immortal from Fernando, but everybody backs off, makes space, and Crow falls. Maldamba tries to close the gap. The missiles are waiting for him. Zexlos with another kill in the bag there to close out this game. And Blazing Hussars claim victory in map 1.
They did it so well onto that capture point, and when it came down to the positioning, I found Blast Q and Toot Toot were so off onto the sidelines that they didn't make the impact. They couldn't take out the shields of Zekislos and Kamikir at the times that it was needed, and for that, they might just falter there.
And I felt like a big part of that as well is in that last engagement, Blast Q went in with Heat Haze, has the opportunity to do a lot of damage, maybe find a solo kill onto one of the front lines, and actually had support from Crow, but the issue was they had no health left, and Sadislav just didn't have a line of sight, I guess, to be able to pocket heal this Charlene back up to full and really enable them, and that was a problem. When your Charlene wasn't effective at dealing damage, that's 65,000, sure, but that should have been more, and actually that's almost eclipsed by Crow here, who's at 62,000 on Fernando. It doesn't feel to me like this pick had enough of an impact.
Not at all, and especially when the ultimates were just not utilized at the same time. Deft always felt like he was throwing out the seismic crashes when nobody else was around to follow up for the damage. If they comboed with Toot Toot and seismic crash into some sort of convergence that could have definitely denied Baku, then we might have seen a turnaround in this game, but as it stands, this is going to be their defeat, and now they're kicked out of this bracket.
They certainly are. Let's take a look back at the bracket with that in mind. Sorsen, 2-0 for Cryptic over Clown Fiesta, which we saw as the first set of semifinals of the day. It sweeps across the board so far. Hard-fought games at times, but Blazing Hussars also advanced through to the final bracket to have a rematch of last week. It's Cryptic versus Blazing Hussars in the finals, folks. I'm so excited for this. Sorsen, this is going to be a match to look forward to. Have you got any expectations which you might have for this game?
Both teams play so well, and honestly, it's going to come down to how they're going to champion draft into these games, and not just that, but what are they going to do with their compositions moving around? We've seen the Sares picked up recently, and now, will that be a new pickup for teams to really convert onto?
It seems like it'll be a battle of the supports. It's the pocket heal and the pocket heal, the two off supports the size of Team Cryptic with their Pip and their Grover or their Genos with the Luminary as well, versus this newfound glory with the Solar Bide Saris. We'll have to see how it all goes down in the finals, and folks, the Go4Paladins Europe Cup will be concluding with this set coming up in just a second. We've got to get some things ready behind the scenes, so please do stay tuned. We'll be back before you know it. Let us know who you're rooting for in the meantime in chat.
Long ago, there was chaos and war, until an order of magical warriors, the Paladins, united the realm. Through strife and sacrifice, these Paladins brought about a golden age. But in these peaceful times, there was no need for warriors. The Paladins disbanded. They left the realm to the Magistrate, a council of former Paladins and powerful magicians. Under their rule, the realm's golden age continued for centuries. Until a great discovery changed everything. A new form of magic, focused through crafted crystals, offered power that rivaled the Magistrate's own. A crystal-powered revolution overtook the realm. The uses were limitless, and the realm's future seemed brighter than ever. But there were accidents. Horrible misuses of power. Tragedies the Magistrate embraced as they banished crystal magic. Such power was not meant to be wielded by commoners, Grand Magister Karn snarled. This will destroy all that we have built and deliver us back to chaos. Some agreed with Karn. They welcomed the return of peace, or perhaps they feared the Magistrate. Others stood up to the Magistrate's new edict. They spoke of progress and rallied behind Valera, a near-immortal warrior who once led the ancient Paladins. This has the power to improve the lives of everyone in the realm, a power that should not just benefit the Magistrate. Karn's forces were merciless. They raided towns and seized crystals to consolidate power. A resistance formed. The rebellion weaponized crystal magic and stood against the Magistrate's control. So when the Magistrate came for the crystals, there was only one possible outcome. War. A brutal war, where the Magistrate unleashed its army's full might. The resistance was shattered. But this defeat only strengthened their resolve. Survivors found new allies from across the realm, great champions willing to join the fight. At Valera's urging, the Resistance took up the flag of the ancient Paladins. Now again they fight to restore peace to the realm, to usher in a new golden age. Will you join them, champion?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Go4Paladins Europe Cup number 39. I am joined here, first, I am Sorsen, and I am joined here with Unexceptional.
Hey.
That's you. And as we're moving forward, we've seen the brackets, we've seen the games, and Cryptic takes a 2-0 over Clown Fiesta, and Huzzahs take a 2-0 over Bulls. Now, moving on to the finals, we're going to jump straight into the players, and what do you tell me about Team Cryptic, Patrick?
Well, we saw some really, I think, incredible plays coming out of specifically Ryan. I mean, obviously the whole team played well. Music's on Ruckus was unstoppable force. Hayes on Bomb King we saw was just blowing people up. But Ryan had some incredible plays coming out of that frontline support role that really saved a couple of games there for them.
Especially with that Grover definitely coming out over top when we saw the gameplay coming out. And now let's move over straight on to Blazing Azaz. See, throughout their bracket, one thing I do want to mention is that Kamaker and Graffice worked so well together onto this back line, and with that they were able to pick up kill after kill and find the pick off exactly where everything needed to be, and at the exact time, especially when it came down to picking off someone like Cassie. But instead of walking and running through all of this, let's move straight over to the map ban and draft. Starting off, we have ban number 1. Can you run us through that?
Yeah, Splitstone Quarry. We saw this in the first semifinal. You know, it's similar to Timbermill right now, and I agree. It's very sniper friendly. So we've been seeing it banned out quite a bit lately. And then ban number 2, Frog. I always actually got to see it get played earlier, and we just matches that we saw barely holding on during that was Team Cryptic, and so I'm really excited to see Bright Marsh.
I am as well, as this has just been a played map, and now it's contested once again. Bright Marsh, let's move straight onto the champion draft and see who's going to be picking up what. Blazing Kazans, they have the first ban away, and now they want to take that Torvald off the point.
Or the Torvald, Makoa bans coming out first. That's what we see almost every game. What's interesting is the Ruckus first pick. Not going to see a Cassie first pick this round.
And with that, we are going to look for Team Cryptic responding for the Ashe, and now they're going into the Cassie. That is a 2 damage composition, if you count Ash's damage, especially with that slug shot legendary coming through. She's able to output a lot of damage from afar, and now Blazing Hussars, what are they going to respond with?
Looks like they're going to pick up Grok and Meldamba, 2 supports, but Grok much more damaging than Meldamba, much less potent healing, but being able to hide the totem on this map is really good. Answered back by Cryptic with Pip and Inara, though.
Ooh, Pip, something that Team Cryptic love to pick up, and now they're running it once again. If Grok goes for that totem and goes for that CC Resil, it will be a huge counteraction to the Pip ultimate, but now as we're moving back over, we see they lock into the Bomb King and Fernando with that point control.
This Bomb King Fernando answer to Inara Pip. Fernando, with his shield, can block off these doors pretty well, and Bomb King is one of the best frontline shredders in the game. Brings just a ton of damage, especially with those Royal Subject bombs. You can kill people around walls. Really intelligent picks, but what's Team Cryptic going to end it with?
It looks like they are going to go for the Genos, and if he's running the Luminary, it's just going to be damage on top of damage for Team Cryptic, and honestly, the same for Blazing Hussars, but let's stop looking at this composition and move into the game in just 2 minutes. We will be right back, folks. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the first set. We have Blazing Hussars on the blue side versus Team Cryptic onto the red. And looking over Legendary's, Patrick, can you tell us anything that is different about Legendary's setup?
Well, I always want to see what Pip's running and what Genos is running, because we have Haze on Pip right now, so that's a damage dealer with the Mischief. Not too surprising with Haze running that, and Astral Mark Luminary. Here we go on Sleppy.
That's a lot of damage, and if we want to talk about that, then we will run through. But now, Grafis onto the top side with Zexlos, and they just have the advantage over everyone else. Now, looking forward, they are dropping fairly low, and Cryptic has to back up from this objective.
Had a really good flank right there, and the Blazing Hussars are going to pay for it. Already dropping 2 people. Cryptic looking strong on this with this flank to start.
Now they're holding out the objective so well, but they're not pushing up to get these dismounts, and with that, they might have just faltered because Blazing Hussars can get onto this objective very quickly once again. It depends on how much damage they're going to output with Brian dropping very low onto this front side.
Punishment call at this point because you want to maintain this strong defense, so you don't want to have to overextend. And looks like the Blazing Hussars are coming back with a Fire and a Fury, taking 2 kills, but they're also going to drop 2 kills there too. So we've got a brawl on the point here.
Onto the right side, we find Grafis through time and space, does collapse onto Kamikaze. He's dropping half health. Now with that, that is going to be Scout popped out from Cassie. She's going to start off this team fight as Grafis is the first one to fall. In return, Tempest comes out, and Blazing Hussars are holding on fairly well.
One of those Tempests, that was not an offensive use. That was just to make sure that your team is topped up for this next team fight, using it proactively instead of reactively. And that's the hard part with the Grok ultimate. You know, do you use it in the middle of the fight? Do you use it before the fight? But Team Cryptic seems like they've got it all figured out, going up 1-0 at 2.5 minutes.
Holding on to this objective so well, and reiterating or restating how they're holding on. It seems like they were just eager to get those ultimates out, as now without that Tempest, holding on to this defensive point and this chokehold might be a little bit difficult, especially if Cryptic hit that gas pedal with the ults.
On the bright side, the Hussars are sitting on 3 ultimates, Ruckus, Bomb King, and Meldamba. Meldamba, one of the best defensive ultimates in the game, but here comes Music, establishing that front line, also the Polymorph.
If we're talking bright side, we are not talking Bright Marsh side, because Cryptic are just in control. Pip's homeland, his map, it's going so well in his favor. And now Blazing Hussars, they aren't staggered about, but they need to regroup onto this objective as it's pushed 80% at 1:30 remaining.
It's a really good combination of ultimates coming out of Team Cryptic, making sure your own player was damage immune while they got to just shoot chickens. Cryptic a little bit maybe aggressive there. Inara gonna fall for free so far, and now the Hussars are sitting on 5 ults.
Ooh, Kamikaze on the front line, but now Cryptic is just retreating. They know they have the time to wait, and with 3 ultimates still available, it depends on how Blazing Hussars want to hold out each corner and each objective, especially when it comes down to the damage it's going to be outputted.
Yeah, this next team fight, I mean, we still have just under a minute left. That's plenty of time for Cryptic to regroup, and I think that's exactly what they want to do. Coming out of Team Cryptic, getting that free kill onto Grok. That is a great way to start this fight, but dropping Cassie is not how you want to continue it.
Starting off with the Ruckus ultimate, Zexless is going to hold on with everything he can. Music's dropping very low, but now Zexless is caught out onto the left side. Hayes, it's a double kill in return, and Grafis tries to initiate with that King Bomb, and it's not going to find anyone. With that, this is where Blazing Hussars are already down 2 members. They need to get onto this objective or find some picks on Cryptic.
These big burst heals coming out of Hayes' hip right now are really making the difference. Inara being allowed to push up, take a lot of damage, but then get healed. Pip now with the biggest healing numbers overall, but with the impactful and timely healing. What's impressive is how close Genos is to Meldamba at this point with the healing.
And if we're starting by talking off with healing and damage charts, Music is going to go straight in onto the backline, asserting that dominance. Nino Saslu onto the left side and finds Dyler, who's just caught out by the Void Grip. With that, he's going to fall. At the last second, though, Kamikaze touches this objective, pops out the Immortal, and they're sticking on it to it very well.
Sometimes that's all you need, is just be able to buy that extra second, but a great Void Grip gonna get the Bomb King out of this fight, and 1 by 1 the Blazing Hussars are walking onto this point, but they're not making a big enough impact. This is gonna be close.
That is a lot of damage, and Cryptic looks like they've already found their footing, but what we really need to look for is Blazing Hussars, if they can find their own footing, find some sort of pick or potential damage output for their team. And as we're looking over to the itemizations, what can you tell me that's online for us?
On the 8 streak, Cassie already with level 3 Wrecker. Shields, Kamikaze is going to be struggling in this next fight, as is Zexalos. Both of these frontliners are looking to get shredded by this damage dealer.
And for that, we just might find the fall of Blazing Hussars, but In return, they do all have tier 2 at some itemization, whether it's Cauterize, Chronos, or more Cauterize. And now they're picking up the resilience to try to counteract this Pipple with the rest of the team coming through.
Yeah, we've got this most important first fight coming down, see who can establish the dominance. And so far, I really like Team Cryptic's positioning. They're playing a little bit back, but they're also flanking. They're making it difficult for the Blazing Hussars to get more than one person with an ability.
Hayes is the first one to drop, though. Grafis is onto the aggressive side. Looks for Cassie, but Cassie's already dropped so low. And now Cryptic, they're pressured back very far. Nino Sassler, they all have to retreat. They have another group up, but Blazing Hussars, they do have that return objective capture that is going to give them 4%. And now we're initiating with the King Bomb.
Yeah, that comeback mechanic is going to be huge, but the King Bomb not going to find a good target there, just going to kind of explode for nothing. But there's the Dread Serpent ultimate in response. We also get the Hexifier. It looks like the Blazing Hussars are really looking to engage here, and it's going to work.
Working out very well, as those pip heals are not going to do as much as they used to. Now shredding him in half. With that, Blazing Hussars, as you said, take the objective point, and now it comes down to how are they going to hold these choke points once again. With this, Cryptic, they do have a very set defense, but what do you think they have to do to really hold down these points?
The thing is, we probably getting rid of the Baku. The Baku, known for their great Maldamba play. When Maldamba's allowed to sit back and stay unthreatened, they can keep their whole team topped off between these Mending Spirits and these swords.
And Nino Sassler is the first one to fall with that. Now the engagement comes through. Superstorm trying to defend out this objective. Chemiker goes onto the aggressive side. Ryan's dropping very low onto the front line. Contested still, though, by Musics until she drops down. Zexus and Grafis both get one kill. And now in return, it seems like the whole side of Cryptic is staggered about.
Grafis is such a dirty Bomb King player. So good, so accurate. And it's harder than it looks to be this accurate because those bombs do have real travel time. So you have to predict where your opponent is going to go. This is not a hit scan ability.
Not at all. And as we see, this is Immortal coming out from Chemiker, dropping down the payload, holding onto the objective. One tick until Blazing Hussars need to get onto it. And Ryan is going to drop in for that. Cryptic actually are getting swiped back onto a 2-2. This is a great turnaround for Blazing Hussars.
Yeah, that's what obviously that's what you needed for the Blazing Hussars, because if you lose too much, then you're just going to lose. But being able to push it all the way, tying it up 2-2 means we've reset the numbers. Now it's just first to 2. Grafis on a 10 streak with level 3 Cauterize.
He is graffising and maybe graffitiing the walls with the opponents because everybody's just exploding onto the side of Cryptic. Now, as we look over to the ultimates online, both teams seem to have 3 ultimates available, as Nino Sassler is actually going to get that Cassie ult very soon to start out this team fight.
Yeah, not the most impactful, or at least sometimes seeming not the most impactful, being able to scout and see everybody, but in a team fight, it really gives you that valuable information. You know if someone's flanking, you know where people are, not to mention that CC immunity.
And now they're starting off. Dread Serpent is available, but on his sideline, Grafis is able to pick up Musics in. That's the first tank falling for Cryptic. Now without that front line, they are going to have a lot of trouble getting back onto this objective. They need to look for some sort of pick, especially onto either Baku or Grafis, as they have been the 2 main damage and healers on his side.
Yeah, Ash was just a little bit too far forward, not quite enough backup, and here comes the King Bomb going right in on Ash again. Music's not allowed to play right now, just gonna get picked off over and over again. There comes the Dread Serpent too to zone away Team Cryptic, and now the Hussars are looking to go up 3-2.
Even without the Dread Serpent not connecting to anyone, they still are able to sit onto this objective and just zone the team away. Something Cryptic were not doing so well, and Blazing Hussars really and truly, one of their best features is the fact that they know how to zone, not to overextend, and understand when to back off from a very heavy team fight.
Yeah, Team Cryptic, their strategy of spreading out, only one person at a time can get hit with these multiple ability is backfiring a little bit. It seems like the Hussars have figured it out, and now they see that one person and they're just focus firing them. We've seen it happen to Ashe a couple of times at this point. I think Cryptic needs to start grouping and take these team fights 5v5.
And speaking of grouping, this is where Ruckus wants to lay down the ultimate. A lot of damage coming through. Grafis and Baku both move onto the backline, get one in return. Now Ashe is going to keep herself alive, asserting the dominance onto this objective. Still, a minute 30 remaining in. Blazing Hussars have pushed it so far already. Music is going to be staggered about, and Grafis is popping out that King Bomb just to start this off.
Gonna zone people away. Nobody wants to engage when the King Bomb is active, but great ultimate coming out of Kamikaze to help buy some more time, let the team respawn, get on there, but it's not gonna be enough. The victory to the Hussars 4-2.
Great job by Blazing Hussars. They took a team fight. They took a match that they were not up on and just brought it forth. They utilized everything so well, especially Grafis onto that Bomb King, pushing up and getting over all of the enemies such as Pip and Slappy, picking out the damage, picking out the healers at the exact times needed. Felt like Blazing Hussars did a great job sitting onto this objective, but also utilizing the pickoffs.
Yeah, there was the teamwork at the end there was really good. It looked like the Hussars figured out Cryptic's game plan and dismantled it surgically. And you can see it in the, specifically Grafis' KDA here, 10, 5, and 11 with 106,000 damage. Grafis picking off the smaller players when they needed to go and stunning Musics over and over again, making sure that Musics was not allowed to really be involved in these big team fights.
And even if Dialer is not keeping up with the healing, we see Baku just leading the charts, 143k. He does so well keeping himself alive with only 4 deaths throughout that whole entire time. Although Sleppy only had 2, which is very good for a losing side team, I have to give it for Baku. Does so well. I always give it over to his Maldamba plays because his Dread Serpents are very impactful and everything else just works so well with the team. But let's move over straight onto map draft number 2, not champion draft, excuse me.
We got to know where we're playing before we know who we're playing. We're going right into Jag Falls, and I love Jag Falls. It's a nice kind of neutral map. You really get to see every champion shine on a map like Jag Falls.
And especially into the set, we've seen Jag Falls and Bright Marsh once now, and now we're seeing it twice. Is this Jaguar Falls for the 3rd time?
And I mean, I get why it's especially when you've lost and now you're choosing this map. It's good to fall back on to build, get some comfort picks going.
I feel like Jaguar Falls has been around for a lot longer than any other map, even though it's been around for the same time as Timber Mill or Frozen Guard. It's so reminiscent of the past, and I love it. But let's stop reminiscing and move forward straight onto the champion draft as we're heading in.
So first pick going over to Team Cryptic. First pick, first ban. I want to see who they're going to ban out this time. Going to be Torvald still. Good surprise because they definitely had some trouble with characters like Ruckus and Bomb King.
Especially on the side, Bomb King was so well placed with Grafis, and now looks like they're going to go for the Ruckus pick as maybe a little bit of a counter to Blazing Hussars and how well they played it last set.
Yeah, that Ruckus is both a pick and a ban. You're taking it away from Zexalos, but you're also picking it for yourself, while the Hussars are going to go, and they're going to grab Maldamba and Cassie, who both thrive on Jaguar Falls.
Very well placed maps, and with that, Team Cryptic tries to return with the Bomb King and Ashe, both very good counters to the Cassie, but it really comes down to how are they going to play around these positions, these angles, and what are they going to respond with when it comes to the side with Cassie?
Inara and Grok, very strong in the meta right now. Really good at dismounting people, especially when they're coming out of base on Jaguar Falls, because you want to come through that little corridor. It's the fastest way back to the point, and Grok can easily bounce your whole team. Cryptic gonna finish their draft with double support Genos and Pip.
Going for that Genos pickup once again with the Pip in combination. It's worked out well for the previous sets, but as we're seeing versus Blazing Huzzahs, it hasn't worked out in their favor yet. Now moving over in return, Fernando, a great stun up and a great counter to the pip ult.
Also is a good pick into the double support. He brings that built-in anti-heal on his fireball, so right out the gate, making it more difficult for the other team to sustain.
And as we're moving in, let's see how this game is going to play out. But first, we're going to be taking a 2-minute break so we can set things up. We will be back in just a second. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back into an explosive set. Moving forward onto the blue side, we have Team Cryptic versus onto the red side, Blazing Huzzahs, as they are 1 game over. Let's start things off by running down through the legendaries. What can you start us off with on Exceptional?
You know I gotta see Genos and Pip. These are the two. Mischief again. Sleppy not gonna be picking up the Mega Potion, and Nina Sasala gonna go with the Luminary.
And as we're starting the team fight off, it looks like they're going to stick onto the middle objective. This is where teams like to collapse a lot, and Ace is onto the sideline with that Bomb King, and it seems like they're going to go straight to the backside of Cryptic. They're going to find a new sort of composition for their style.
What's happening though, the Huzzahs are just on the point. They're already at 60%. I think Team Cryptic's not doing anything about this. They think it's a fight, but Blazing Huzzahs are just getting the objective.
Fight over objective. Which one do you want to take? And an objective is going in favor of Blazing Huzzahs, already with 90%. Seems like Cryptic, though, are able to turn it around and collapse onto the middle side. It's a 3 pick-off now, as Cryptic only drops down 1 as Ryan the first to fall.
That's a great fight for Team Cryptic, but the Huzzahs already at 96%. This is a tough lead to fight into. They need to win at least one more convincing team fight if they're going to take this point.
And with that, they are going to hold the corner as well. We've seen Blazing Huzzahs do this, but now can Cryptic return it with holding out the objective? 75%, 78, and it's just rising for Cryptic, though they only have one opportunity to touch this objective.
ready with the ultimate online. Bomb King is also available, and here comes the Hexafire, and that's exactly what you need to see. All the ultimates that were available just got used, and Team Cryptic does win that team fight convincingly. They're gonna cap the objective at 2.5 minutes.
Now, as you were talking, kills are important, and especially when getting that ultimate charge online, because the objective's not going to do that as fast as kills will. And with that, they were actually able to turn it around, utilize the ultimates on top of Blazing Hussars, and with that, Payload is just going to start chugging through this objective.
An important thing to remember on Jaguar Falls is that the actual push distance is not very long, but it's almost all choke points, so it's very difficult. Ryan going in with the ultimate, gonna get stunned, but not gonna take any damage.
Ooh, onto the backside, we do find Kamaker is the first one to drop. Through time and space doesn't connect on anyone, and now Haste is looking for some more blood. Though he is dropping low, he will just barely stay alive and pick up Dialer. In return now, 1:30, and it's pushing through very far at about 60%.
With running Mischief, so playing aggressively, trying to land these shots so they can reduce the cooldowns, particularly on the heal. And look at that big 1200 heal coming out of Pip. Pip is not the most potent healer in the game, but the heal is all at once as they force out Kamaker's ultimate.
Now with that, he's just gonna fall into the sideline, but in return, Dialer gets one and is now utilizing the Maelstrom, getting his team to stay alive, but in return, he's not gonna stay alive himself. It's a 3-for-3 trade, as it really just comes down to how our Blazing Hussars is going to defend out this objective.
That's long distance stun, set up the easiest kill of Grafis's career right there. Just point forward and click. How did the Baku has played Maldamba well in the past, but that was one of the best shots
just
I've ever seen.
Amazing. I agree with you there. Just amazing. Like Baku, Maldamba, it's honestly a match made in heaven, and he's played so much Maldamba that he knows how to keep the team alive. He knows how to land these very initial stuns and very dangerous stuns, and now Blazing Hussars only have 20 seconds to defend this out.
But the team fight seems to be going in their favor. Everyone on the Hussars is at very low health. The Baku doing their best to keep the team alive, but it's so far back, it's difficult to remain relevant. The Cryptic is going to get 4 for nothing right now, and it's only the Baku left to defend, and I don't think they can do it.
They're pushing so far through. 2 more ticks down. The objective going to overtime, but nobody can contest, and Blazing Hussars drop down a 2-0. And this is pretty much the exact same thing that happened last time until they got the Cauterize online. Then Blazing Hussars were able to turn it around, and Sleppy had a lot of trouble healing up the team.
That's exactly what I was thinking, is that we've seen this story before. The Hussars are not afraid to be down 2-0. Last time they came back, ran the table 4 in a row. But when we look at the money and the item builds, I'm confident about what Team Cryptic is doing right now. They're looking good. And look at Bomb King is not who you want to have the most money going against. Level 3 wrecker already.
And with that, he still has 100 credits after that to spend. So if he needs Brazilian soon, if he needs some other item, it's going to come online very soon. But with that, breaking down the shields, breaking onto the sideline, and he has that King Bomb available. Depends on how he's going to utilize it, though. Starting off the team fight, Dread Serpent is going to pop through.
Music's trapped in a corner, but there's not any follow-up. The Music just gets to turn around and keep on fighting. That's a real dropped kill right there, because now look, Music turns around and basically picks up 2 kills just because they were allowed to survive. That is not what you want to have happen after a Dread Serpent.
And Dialer, he was alone using the Tempest Storm just to keep himself alive. He tried to do anything he can to stay during that team fight, but it probably would have just been better for him to fall back, retreat, or even just die in that situation. Now, they are down an ultimate, and with that, King Bomb's gonna come through straight onto the objective. Oh.
Whoa, looks like they might have misaimed it a little bit. Bad news, Hayes. But it looks like Team Cryptic is doing a similar strategy as last time. Is they're looking more for the fight than the objective, and they're just giving up all this free objective capture to the Hussars, who are already at 89%.
With this, Cryptic is going to drop low. Grafis is the first going to get a kill. He's dropping Nino's out of the question, and now Music's is the third to drop. Only thing they can do is hold on, and this is where we saw every other game Blazing Hussars turn it around once again.
Ash getting the heck out of dodge right there. Really good move. Just to survive, not have to deal with the respawn, not give the other team any money. That's a high-level play. Is hide just long enough, line up your shot, get out.
Cooldowns, huge thing in this game, especially when you don't have any resources like mana to worry about. It's all about timing and how you're going to utilize every ability. Now, moving on to the sideline, the payload is just at a halt. It's not coming through the objective, and it seems like Blazing Azaz is looking more for some kills than actually pushing forward this card.
Yeah, I mean, the high ground on Jaguar Falls is such a great place to defend from. You have good vision, but also you're hard to shoot because all you have to do is move a little bit to the side and you're going to be safe. And Cryptic is doing a really good job taking advantage of that. But look how far forward Hayes is. Hayes wants to make sure nobody is getting back to this fight at full health.
And with that, they are just defending now. Cryptic holding on very well. A minute 20 remaining in their name, but Scout is the first one to initiate. They see where every single member of Cryptic is, and Blazing Huzzahs need to capitalize upon this.
Looks like Musics has to back up a little bit as Fernando comes storming in. Kamek unafraid to take this fight, but maybe they should be. Music still has a lot of health left.
Seismic Crash comes down on the Slappy onto the sideline. In return, Through Time and Space tries to land, but Zexlos can just heal it up in an instant. Ryan gets one kill on the Dialer before the Tempest is actually able to be utilized. And now she's sticking herself alive with the Assert Dominance. Kamek onto the backline, and it seems like Blazing Azaz are just going to back up from this objective.
Another great play coming out of Ryan. Stops that push, at least for a moment. Everybody, once you see Ashe come down in her ultimate, you know you can't kill her. You might as well just wait a second. No point dumping resources into something that won't die.
And with this, Laffy gets a double. Ryan picking up a double as well. And only 20 seconds to get back onto this point. If we know Cryptic, they're going to get them off the horse. But can they do it in time to stop out this push?
Almost not even worth it to try too hard. You're probably just going to die and feed the other team money. Looks like Blazing Huzzahs recognize that. And they want to hold back, although they're moving forward like they're going to push. 1 second left. I don't know if they can get there.
Oh, just barely touching with Kamek, but he's dropping to Hayes as the Bomb King knows how to dish out that damage, and just kill after kill is picked up. It seems like the only person holding on is Zexlos, and that's another drop down. Cryptic going up 3-1 now over Blazing Huzzahs. It depends on what the itemization's coming out, and how is Fernando or Zexlos going to respond to this push?
Fernando's having a tough time right now. They went with the Aegis ultimate, which means that their shield is going to have a lot more health, but Hayes immediately building into that level 3 Wrecker has been chewing through Kameker's shield. There's almost nothing Kameker can do about it. You're getting counter built and forced into a really difficult situation.
And for that, he might just be faltering, especially if he picked up something like the Fireball legendary card. That might have had more impact, as his team is a little lackluster in damage. Moving forward, though, we find Cryptic, and they do have 4 ultimates online, so holding on to that, it's going to be a tough hold for Blazing Huzzahs.
Yeah, incredible that Ryan already over 80%, looking at 90 in that ultimate. Kameker caught out a little bit, going after Sleppy, making sure that that Pip is forced to be uncomfortable, forced into a bad position, and now they have to ult just to survive in the back line.
Sleppy gets one, though, onto the sideline. Through Time and Space doesn't actually connect onto Zexlos. Great move out of the way, and now Dialer gets one. Graffiti gets a second, but in return, Hayes is able to pick off one. Now it's a 2-for-2 breakdown. Moving forward, Music's just can shatter through with the damage and has the ultimate online. Dialer trying to keep his team alive with the Tempest, though.
I forget that Ryan is on this point. They've been capping, but again, Blazing Huzzahs up 93% to 21, 99 now, because Cryptic keeps taking the fights. They're not on the actual objective.
Great Hex of Fire to take off those 2 on the objective, but to the sideline, we do find Baku, who is doing so well keeping the team alive, and for that, actually, they're going to survive through this, and Blazing Huzzahs take up the objective once again. If we talk about comebacks, we will see Blazing Huzzahs everywhere.
Really thought Team Cryptic had that fight in their pocket, but just really good movement coming out of the Huzzahs. A great team healing coming out of specifically the Baku. and they just stayed relevant long enough that they were able to capture that point, and now we're pushing with over 2 minutes left.
Onto the sideline, we find a full 5-man push for Blazing Hussars. Only Tyler is going to find the first on the Ryan. In return, though, Hayes is going to drop Zexlos. Now that they're down the tank, Blazing Hussars, though, still have the 3-man advantage. Moving forward, Sleppy gets Grafise, but Tyler gets Sleppy, and now it's just a kill trade after trade, but still they're pushing the objective so far.
Cryptic need to get on this objective right now, because with over 1.5 minutes, it's so close to being completely pushed, and that's just not where you want to be. Cryptic really are getting forced onto their back foot right now, but another good ultimate coming out of It's Ryan should stop this push for at least a moment.
Cryptic was being pushed around, but now it looks like Cavaker is going to be the one pushed back onto the spawn load, and now Tyler is the next to fall. Zexless to the sideline, dropping very low, and no healing is going to save out that Anar, even with the Mother's Grace. Now, 1.4 minutes remaining for Blazing Hussars to get back onto this objective, and honestly, they just need one team wipe to get here.
Yeah, they need to win a team fight, and they have the ults to do it. They have Grok, Fernando, and Maldamba. All of those are great team fighting ultimates going into just a King Bomb and a Polymorph, which, I mean, again, those are also great ultimates, but the economy heavily favors the Hussars right now, and as is this fight.
Grafise getting 2 musics in return, picks up 1, but Tyler getting a 3rd, and now Cryptic is starting to drop. That King Bomb was not utilized well, and Grafise and Tyler are just running through with the damage. It looks like Blazing Hussars are going to take this objective as nobody's touching it, and now it's a 3-for-3 tied up once again.
Tyler has been doing huge damage on this Grok. And it's been relevant damage. It's been real team fight damage. The shock pulse bounces, just hitting people with the staff. I'm really impressed by the tracking coming out of Dialer right now.
Looking over to the damage charts, Hayes actually, excuse me, is leading the charts on that Bomb King, and in return, Grafise has that Cassie still at the top, but below them is Ruckus and Dialer, both of them doing so well to maintain and output this damage across each team.
Grok right now is probably the hardest hitting support in the game, and we're seeing Dialer really hammer that point home, but we're tied 3-3 at almost 15 minutes. This is tournament point for the Blazing Hussars. If they can capture this point, they're going to win this week's tournament.
Onto the sideline, we see Seismic Crash going to hit 2, but they're both around the corner now. Music's popping out the Hexfire. They're trying to get onto this objective. Dreadserpent does pop out the Slappy, and now that is a pip out of point. 2 pickups, though, for Blazing Hussars, and they're able to find 1. Maybe if they can find it around to the sideline, but Grafise seems a little bit caught out in this objective.
Grafise has been chewing through Team Cryptic right now. Backing up, look how far away they are, making sure they get that maximum damage out of their passive, doing so much work. You can see them chunking down these health bars. I really think that if Cryptic is going to have a chance right now, they need to take out this big damage dealer and then slow the fight down. Nino Sasa with a great ult.
Great through time and space, as you were just speaking. Now, on the sideline, Sleppy is going to find another one with Ninu. And this is really where Cryptic needs to work around. They're doing it so well, and now Blazing Hussars, they only have 1, maybe even no chances to get back onto this objective.
That was a great turnaround by Cryptic. That's what you need to see if Cryptic's going to win. They are better in these longer engagements. That's where they're comfortable. That's where their team comp wants to be. If you can get Cassie out of the picture, then they have the damage advantage. That's what they want. Team Cryptic going to take this one 4-3. They really earned that one. That was a fight.
Honestly, they earned every single part of that because they did it so well. Although they may have a little bit of a falter during that midline game, they did really turn around with the ultimate utilization at the end there, especially the Seismic Crash, not finding any kills with Zexlos. That's probably the biggest falter for Blazing Hussars, and for that, they're actually going to be capitalized upon, and Cryptic now take up a 1-1 over Blazing Hussars.
I gotta point out, Hayes, 22, 7, and 16. That's the slash line of a great damage dealer. 135,000 damage. There was no point where Hayes was not relevant.
Not at all, and they did it so well. Even the healing charts, Baku always leading, and In return, Nino, though, gets a lot of healing, especially for being a Genos that's, I'm pretty sure, running Luminary. Yes, he was running the Luminary, so just extra damage on top of that. Very well placed by Nino and Sleppy, both not dying that often. And if you want to talk about anything else, we are going to be talking about what map we're going in for game number 3.
Keep is where we're going to decide this week's champion, and that's another map that I really like. You have that high ground area that people battle over. You have the low ground in the cathedral, which is super tight, claustrophobic, but then you have that big, long firing range across the point where these long range damage dealers, Cassie, Grover, Shaolin, any sniper can free farm.
And we might see a switch up in compositions, as I've heard Knessa is very good at stone keep, and as you were mentioning, a lot of damage can be outputted from afar. But instead of speculating, let's move straight over onto the champion draft and see who's picking up what.
The first pick, first ban, they do not want to see Torvald at any point. The Hazars do not want to see Makoa. Same old story, but Cryptic gonna first pick up Ruckus.
Ruckus, to start things off, it is a highly contested point, especially with the missile barrage coming through. Back onto Blazing Hussars, they take up with the Cassie and Ashe in return, so now Cassie won't be countered out by that Ashe pick.
Intelligent play. Ashe so good at diving Cassie. The shield does a lot of work too, making sure they get both of those on the same team. But that means that Cryptic is going to get Bomb King and their own Maldamba. So that's a pick and a ban going up against specifically the Baku, who's so well known for their Damba play.
Take away that Maldamba and let's see what he really turns it around to. It seems like they're going to go for an Inara into Genos pickup. So Blazing Hussars, they get that point control, but also have the Genos maybe for Baku, or maybe they're going to go with something a little bit different.
Grok pick. Grok is a great supplementary healer when it comes to Genos being your primary healer. We haven't seen the Hussars pull out a character like Pip yet. Oh, Grover, though, is a good choice. As I mentioned, those long firing ranges where you can really deal some good long distance damage with Grover. I'm interested to see if they're going to pick Ferocity or Efflorescence, though.
I am as well, as I was just about to point that out. I hope that the Grover goes for Ferocity because I want to see damage stacked on top of damage for Blazing Hussars, and I want to see Baku out dealing and putting out the damage on a Grover. That would be just amusing to me. I think with that, we are going to be jumping right into the game. We will be back in just 2 minutes. Stick around for the finals.
I've been a real bad boy on the town all night. Starting to calm down with the morning light. I'm in the dirt, down in the dirt. Been real bad.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and this has been an explosive set. And speaking of explosive, we're starting off with the chain reaction of games moving forward. Cryptic onto the second game they actually won, and Blazing Huzzahs won out the first game. Let's see how this is going to finish through. First, let's run through some legendaries. Patrick, can you give us some breakdowns?
Oh, I got to see Grover running Efflorescence. Going to be that side healer more than anything. That's what Dialer is going to do. Not looking for the long-range ferocity shots. Celestial touch Genos, though.
And he's still sticking onto the back line. Even with that, that will be a lot of healing, as you just said, by Baku. Onto the sideline, though, we do find damage just being outputted from Ninu into the front line. Kamaker finds that hold, but it's just honestly a pickoff of 1-for-1, and Grafis and Zexlos both find their own little kills.
The Huzzahs gave up that high ground for free, and I'll trade a Fernando for a Cassie every single fight, every single day, making sure you get all that damage off the table. And Hayes is just allowed to stand behind the Blazing Huzzahs and throw these bombs.
Especially when their only damage dealer is that Cassie on board. And with that, she's taken the just 3 legendary, so she has to sit back onto the objective and not push forward without the damage outputting. Now, this is dropping low. Hayes gets 1 kill in return, though, and it seems like Grafis and Kamaker both capitalized on this backline push.
Just a filthy shot coming out of Grafis right there. I almost couldn't see it happening, and I'm watching. The Huzzahs doing a good job making sure that they're staying on the point, though. I mean, when you're on the high ground, you're not on the point. Zexalo's gonna grab Nino free back there.
Scout starting things off. Everybody knows the positioning of Cryptic, and Blazing Huzzahs, they need to find some sort of advantage over them. They had the high ground, but Grafis is jumping off. Ryan sits on this objective, and now onto the backline. We start things off with the through time and space. Assert dominance will keep the Ashe alive, but nobody's even looking for her.
Yeah, that ultimate, I don't know how well timed it actually ended up being, but here comes the King Bomb running in along with the Grok ultimate. Team Cryptic is engaging. They're trying to win this team fight handily and get that cap percentage up a lot higher.
Great Hexafire by Musix. Picks off 2 and then moves forward for a third. Grafis is the next one to drop, and Cryptic 90% on the objective. It seems like they're going to take this for themselves, and the handle goes over to Cryptic for a 1-0.
Some ultimates right there, but obviously it's worth it because they got the cap. That's all. I mean, that's what ultimates are for, right? For winning team fights and getting objectives, and now they're pushing. What I didn't like was that Ashe ultimate a while ago. Wow, great shot coming out of Ryan.
Both of them are just dealing damage to Musix, and as you were speaking, that Ashe ultimate felt like a little bit of a waste. She was on the backline, and everybody just ignored her for the side of Cryptic, realizing why fight an Ashe when she doesn't even have to fight you.
I think the idea was to jump down into the team fight. Here's an ultimate coming out of Ryan, making sure that they stay alive and that their team stays alive. Being immortal in that healing gourd puddle is a pretty good combo, but the Huzzahs are just trying to push right through it.
And now with this, we find Blazing Huzzahs taking the top side, and they have the site over. It seems like Grafis gets the first pick off, and I'm gonna sneeze.
That's some good casting of your own sneeze. I wasn't ready for it.
Thank you.
You walked me through it, and I feel better now.
Oh yeah, anytime. If you ever need a rundown of how to sneeze, I got you any day. And now Cryptic. They're holding out this objective, but Blazing Huzzahs have the defense over Cryptic at the moment.
I mean, they're pushing Cryptic past the original point. Cryptic having a hard time even getting past the halfway mark on this map right now. The Huzzahs are putting up just a really stalwart defense right now.
With Dialer especially, he can't output the damage just time after time, ticking through. And now onto the sideline, we see just numerous amounts of things coming out. With that, we're gonna find a lot of pickoffs. Grafis on the backside is just going to dish and deal more and more damage.
Pushing this all the way for Team Cryptic is going to be a tall order with only 30 seconds left. They have a long way to go, even as Dialer is getting poked out, but it looks like they've finally actually pushed through. They're going to group up on this point. they're sitting on 4 ultimates, so this is well within the realm of possibility if Cryptic really wants to push this objective.
With this payload, 15 seconds, but it's still being contested out. That is a food time and space landing right on Haze, and he's the next one to drop out. Moving forward, Slappy gets 1 in return. It's a 1-for-1 pickoff of Blazing Huzzahs. They do have the respawn advantage, and it comes down to who's going to be the first one to drop. Overtime's now taken for Cryptic.
And just over halfway pushed in overtime. By the time they get this payload to the point, we're going to be so deep into overtime that they won't be able to put one toe out of line. The team fight for Cryptic right now is going to have to be so tight they can't make any mistakes if they're going to go up 2-0.
They're holding it on so well. Immortal is here. Fernando wants to utilize it. It seems like he's not going to pop it out, keeping himself alive for now, though, with the heals coming through. Now, Blazing Huzzahs are dropping very close to just getting kills, but the defense goes in favor of Cryptic now.
Tactical choice coming out of Cryptic. Yes, you'll lose the point, but it's better, I think, to lose that and maintain your 5 ultimates. Make sure you can capture this next point and try to put together a stronger push. Try to break the back of the Huzzars.
And breaking the back is what they can do so well, especially with the Haze Bomb King, Ninu Saslu onto the Grok. Both of them can just output more and more damage without actually being around the targets, especially on a Grafis who's so keen on sticking to the back line. Ninu has the shock pulse to just bounce around and get her anyways.
Yeah, that exactly. Right now, Grafis as far away from these fights as possible. They don't want to engage because Cassie is soft, but Cassie hurts. Oh, Ryan going into the back line right away. It looks like they might pay for it, but getting relevant damage out. That ultimate coming out of Nina Sasla is a little bit too slow, though, and I think it's kind of a waste.
And with that, that's going to be a lot dropping down. Ryan still has the ultimate online, though. He tried to utilize it to stick and keep himself alive, but Cryptic seems like they're pushed back, holding onto a choke point and holding on very well. A whirlwind comes out from Dialer, though.
Yeah, that felt kind of like a panic whirlwind right now. Haze gearing up the King Bomb, running into the point. Not going to find anybody, though. Just has to get out of there. Also, though, Immortal going to get burned as well. A lot of ultimates going down. That's a good one, though. Picking up Graffiti.
Through time and space doesn't connect onto the music. Still moving forward. Dialer's dropping very low, and now would have been a great time to utilize that whirlwind, but it's not enough. And if we saw that once again, Zexlos actually used the assert dominance again onto the backline, and it was once again wasted and couldn't do anything for this control point.
Team fight was kind of a mess for both sides, but Cryptic playing it a little bit better. Their ultimates a lot more relevant in the team fight, and now they're up at 90%. They're about to capture this thing. Blazing Huzzars need to push back right now if they're going to capture the point.
Nunu using the ultimate, trying to keep everybody alive with Tempest, and for that, they're actually going to drop down with 3 kills. Here would have been a great time for Zexlos to at least assert the dominance when the team fight was initiating, and for not having that ultimate, they're going to drop, and Cryptic gets up into a 2-1 once again.
Important that Cryptic wins that team fight so handily right as they're about to capture the point, because during the Blazing Huzzars respawns, that's free time for them to start pushing the payload, and they're already almost as far as they ever were last round. So this round already looking a lot better for Cryptic. Is in a good position. It looks like they're trying to flank a little bit as the Huzzars push back.
Good positions are everything, especially onto a game when it comes to control points and objective capture. Now, Cryptic is being pressured out once again, but Blazing Huzzars have a very good hold for this choke point. They can utilize the top side, they can utilize the range, and especially onto a character such as Grover and Cassie on the same team. It's just more and more damage the farther away you are from your opponent.
Did you see Music's body blocking for Fernando a second ago, making sure that that tank got to live? That is good teamwork coming out of a frontliner protecting their frontliner.
And protecting the frontliner is almost everything, but maybe keeping your damage alive is a little bit better, as the damage is going to start being outputted. Dread Serpent is available. Now it depends on who's going to start off this initiation and who's going to utilize these ultimates.
Cryptic trying to go through this little corridor, trying to split up the team fight while they're pushed the objective in the back, and that's what Sleppy's doing. Sleppy has been on this objective the entire time, making sure that even throughout these team fights, it's constantly moving forward. That's a great tactical play. That's basically what the Hussars have been doing these last couple maps, where during the team fights they cap the point. This time it's Cryptic pushing the objective.
Every little tick and every little inch counts, and that's definitely what Sleppy's taking into account. Now, Hayes gets the first kill to start off this team fight, and it only has 30 seconds left for Cryptic as they're running around the same thing. Baku, great through time and space, landing straight on the musics.
You know, Baku, I definitely know Baku for their Maldamba play, but these Genos ultimates have been spot on. Just picking them off. That's
seconds remaining.
Scenario. Usually you have to use that through time and space as more of a zoning tool. As Nino Sasla picking up Tyler.
Now, moving forward, we do find Graffis dropping very low to Hayes' bombs, and sticky bombs are very deadly. Now, Kamiground up the front line is going to fall. We do have Orion's ultimate online if he wants to utilize the Immortal. Still, they're pushing it through. Overtime's ticking down. Musics gets a double, and now onto the sideline. It's just pushing and pushing forward.
Yeah, really good play coming out of Cryptic right there. Ash burned down in the middle of asserting her dominance. That might have turned the team fight around, but right now, Team Cryptic looking at tournament point right. They're looking strong.
They really are, and as you're speaking, tournament point is huge, but itemization might just be bigger. Moving forward, we find Music's already picking up the tier 3 cauterize with Hayes and Ninu, and even Ryan. I didn't even see that. That just came out of the blue, and for that, that's just so much denied healing for this Grover and for this Genos.
Grover and Genos not the strongest healers in the game, so with 4 level 3 cauterizes breathing down their necks, it's going to be hard for them to sustain during engaged fight or long engagements. That right now Maldamba has level 3 cauterize and deft hands to make sure they can reload faster and get those stuns out more frequently.
Level 3, and it is very important, especially for the stuns. Ryan popping out the Mortal to keep himself alive, but Zexlo's kit picks it up and gets a double. Now King Bomb is going to initiate for Hayes and popped out in the middle of it. Zexlos isn't able to find the Zert, is at the last second going to drop it down, and now seems like Blazing Hussars are able to turn this around just for now.
The bleeding, but right now they're still down a little bit when it comes to the actual objective capture percentage. So Cryptic still with the big advantage overall in this match.
With this, we're going to start out. That's a Hexafire onto the top side, picks off Tyler. In return, Music is going to keep himself alive. And now Cryptic are holding on to this advantage so well. Ninu Sasula goes up, gets the damage to come through, and Zexless is the next one to fall. They need to stick to this objective, though, because every second counts, especially when Blazing Hussars have that comeback mechanic.
Music's just did such a good job zoning out half of Blazing Hussars. They were too low a health to engage, and Music's knew it. What a good stun coming out of Hayes, forcing Ash not to move for a second. Hayes gonna try to get out of there, not gonna work. And this fight is going in favor of Blazing Hussars, but Team Cryptic already at 90%. They only need one more fight to win it.
They're turning this back around, and Slappy is the only one left alive. And now, Blazing Hussars, they have the 2-3 advantage. Still, they're not going to be up on objective capture, but this is a great turnaround, and we've seen them do this so many times before.
Yeah, Blazing Hussars are definitely down, but not out. Fighting for their tournament lives. They won that team fight handily, and with the comeback mechanic, they captured the point in no time. And right now, it's Ryan caught a little bit out of position, but still going to do relevant damage to Graffis.
Now, we do see that Zexlos is able to find Music onto the sideline. Ryan picks up one in return, and Graffis is the next one to fall. The cart has pushed a lot farther for Blazing Hussars than Cryptic ever have, with this very long time still in their favor.
It feels like we have days left. Tyler gonna try to keep themselves alive. Look at the anti-heal coming into play, though. Even with Whirlwind, Tyler unable to get all the way back up to full health. That's a great defense coming out of Cryptic. They're just, all they need to do is buy time, reset this, and go into next round.
Imagine if Shock Pulse counted as an auto attack, everybody would just have so many cauterized issues, especially for a damaged Rock. But now, Cryptic, they do have the top side, and they're able to rain down damage from afar. Blazing Azaz want to look for some sort of initiation. It seems like that's going to start off with Kamaker.
To the high ground, just being distracting, making sure that Team Cryptic can't engage in this fight in the way that they want to. Ryan just burning the world alive, but Zexalo squashes the
Sets
Grok.
a flag on the Grok. Whatever you want to put it, it's going to be huge. And Music is onto the back line. Usually, that ultimate Hexafire does a lot of damage, but we saw that the Bomb King Haze is not enough to pick off a kill there. And now they might just fall for that. Cryptic is dropping very low.
Kill coming out of Ryan. Remember, the respawn advantage is heavily in the favor of Team Cryptic. They basically respawn and are back on the point, whereas the Hazards have to cross the entire map. So every 1-for-1 trade goes heavily in the favor of Team Cryptic, and they're making it known. And they're getting the kills too. The Hazards, with 10 seconds left, are struggling to make any forward progress.
Ooh, Hayes catching out the mispositioned Dialer, and for that, I don't think Blazing his eyes are going to touch this objective. And now it comes back to a 3-2 push. It really also brings down to the itemization for each side, as we see both teams are picking up their tier 3 items.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a lot of money on both sides. Look at Ryan making sure that they get all that extra healing, even a Chronos getting built on everybody except for Hayes. Why not? You have the money, get the cooldown reduction, and we've got morale boost on Zexalos, make sure they can assert dominance more often. Master riding on Kamaker. No one is going to get to that point before Inara.
And that is actually very essential for Inara to set up onto that position and get to that objective before anybody else can contest her. With the Mother's Grace being in her favor in her ball field, she could play it out so well, but now Scouts starting off with refuse to spot out the enemies.
What Kamaker did there, they got there first. They don't want to fight over the high ground. They just want to make it look like they're fighting over the high ground. Engage the other team for just a little bit more time, make sure their positioning isn't quite perfect, but Hayes, unfooled, is just cranking damage through that door.
Sleppy under the sideline picks up one. Grafis is not going to get anything out of this and falls to Music. Now, they're holding onto this objective so well. Cryptic are doing what they can to dismount, but Blazing Azaz, they still have the time to get back.
Over 50% Team Cryptic pushed way up to make sure that the Hazards don't get into this fight cleanly. Applying their cauterize, make sure no one's at full health. Team Cryptic already over 80%. Immortal has to be used, though, to make sure they can continue this team fight.
Starting off the team fight, a great Immortal, and Dialer did use the ultimate of Whirlwind a little bit early. Music is dropping very low onto the side, then Grafis gets one for the Ninu, and in return, Sleppy's also going to drop now. Oh, great play by Ryan. But Blazing Azaz are turning this around.
Bloodbath right now. The Hazards are getting the slight advantage, though. Grafis dealing so much damage with the ultimates already having been burned. Team Cryptic are sitting on 1 ultimate to 0, so maybe Grok can make the turnaround play in this next team fight.
Ooh, nobody's touching this objective, though. Cryptic dropping low for that, and now it's a 3-3. Blazing Hazards might be able to turn this around and push it through. It depends on what they want to play and how they're going to output this damage. Ryan picks up 1, but Dialer in return finds Ninu.
Yeah, all of a sudden, the Hazards who were down are sitting on tournament point themselves. They're in the driver's seat pushing this fight forward, and they're looking good doing it. They have dropped their own kill, but they picked up 2 in return, and we're already a quarter of the way there with about 2 minutes left.
With that, they're holding on to the objective. Sidelines are a huge part, especially keeping these corners very well tightly conserved. Hayes is dropping though, and Tyler picking off the first kill to start another team fight that's going to be deadly.
Really good accuracy coming out of Tyler.
Oh no. I give it to you. I made a fair amount of puns, and this is a very good one by you.
Rock going to use their ultimate, make sure they keep their team nice and healthy. Not going to do any damage with it, purely defensive. But Team Cryptic, they're trying to set up on the high ground and low ground just on the other side of that door.
Ooh, and that's a Dread Servant to the sideline. Actually doesn't land on the Grafis, and now for that, they might just falter. Grafis getting 2, Zexlos getting another one. Cryptic, the only person alive, is Ninu and Sleppy. Sleppy has to touch it at the last second, and Blazing Azaz take out Cryptic in this victory, and they're going for the finals, and they have just won this tournament.
Oh, what a push at the last second there. They just got the important kills on the big bodies of Team Cryptic, and then they took advantage when it was only supports trying to contest. Supports are great, but they are not the person you want trying to save the team fight by themselves alone. They cannot withstand that kind of damage. Blazing Hazars earned that by not panicking at any point. They were sitting on the bad side of tournament point for a long time, but they stayed in it. They stayed consistent. They won these team fights, and eventually they took it all.
And that was a huge and important part for the team, as Blazing Hazars, they know how to keep calm, especially because it seems like they're always down 0-2 for the start, and then make that comeback. And this is a very big comeback for them to win out the tournament. If we're talking about damage charts, we're talking about Grafis 180k for that Cassie.
I mean, that obviously Grafis played out of their mind, but look at Dialer, 132,000 damage. That's a lot of damage, but 112,000 healing. That's your off healer. If you look at Nino Sasla, it's only 37,000. We're talking, what, like 80,000 more damage or healing coming out of Dialer. That is a really big number.
Healing after damage after healing after damage. It's all consistent, and each team has played so well in this set. Now, if we're coming to an end, it's going to be happening now. This has been the ESL Go4Paladins European Cup number 39. The winners are Blazing Hazars, and moving forward, we are going to be looking for the signups of European Cup number 40. This is going to be the monthly qualifiers, if I am not mistaken. It is going to be the monthly finals for next week of the top 8. And for that, we are actually going to be running for a ESL play on Friday and Saturday for more cups. With that, Paladins Global Series is going on worldwide. Go to paladins.com for details on how to sign up for your region. Also, a Paladins console series for EU and NA. Paladins.com for signups and details broadcasted over on the Mixer for Saturday and Sunday. Now, I have been joined by a lot of familiar faces and voices. One is starting off with Unexceptional. What would you like to tag yourself as, or put in as just a little bit of shout out for doing unexceptionally on this little cast that we had?
First of all, I want to say I'm not sorry for that pun. I love that pun. Second, you can find me on Twitter at UnexceptionalTV or on Twitch at Unexceptional.
That sounds great. And of course, we did have Vox joining us. He is the main setup caster, the voice. Everybody knows him. Everybody loves him. If you want to find him on Twitter, he is Vox the Pudding Girl, or at HighRes Vox if you want to message him. Of course, the memes can go around. He does a fantastic job with the production. And actually, upcoming for today, we will see a live NA for America of the Paladins Bomb King Cup that's going to be run by myself, as I am Sorsons, also formerly known as the Absurd Gamer, or past known as. So I'm excited to do that. I'm hoping to see you guys there and see a few familiar faces, but that's for America upcoming tonight. And any closing statements from you, Unexceptional?
Thank you so much, everybody, for turning out. What a tournament that was. What a great final.
It really was.
For the teams for giving us such a good game to cast.
And thank you, everyone else, for being here. As always, this has been amazing. I hope to see you guys next time. Love you guys. Peace.
know you couldn't stand tall, so why didn't you call? So many years has gone by, but I think about you all the time. Looks like you're changing and all, but why didn't you